Vancouver Canadians have gotten off to a bit of a slow start here this Northwest League season. If they're going to turn the corner, Canadians with a record of 3-12, it's guys like that, Tanner Morris, who've decided that it is time to step up. They had a players-only meeting this morning, losers of 7 in a row. They know they have to get right, especially the draft kids. And usually in year one, it's a mulligan, but for even players like this, Will Robertson, they know it's on them if they're going to turn this around. Vancouver Canadians 7 games off the pace in the North Division, just 2 weeks into the season. So yeah, it's time to put the palm on the big red button that says panic and try to salvage the first half of the season. On the other side of the coin, Spokane. They're in first place in the North Division, 2 games clear of Everett, and boy, they've looked good so far. Right there, Kellen Strom has done everything. His parents were All-Americans in school, his brother's an All-American, and of course now he's a professional baseball player. Life so very good for Spokane. They've won 3 in a row against the Canadians and are looking to make it 4 here tonight at Nat Bailey Stadium. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to A&W Vancouver Canadians baseball right here on Sportsnet Pacific. Glad to have you along for the ride. Beautiful conditions for tonight's game, and alongside me, I'm Rob Fay. Ricky Romero is back for a second go. Ricky, welcome back to Vancouver.
Thank you. I'm pumped for the second game. It should be exciting.
Well, you are the lucky charm. We're 1-0 with you in the building. So with a team that's only won 3 games all year, it's great to have you along for the ride. Ricky, very quickly, let's take a look at the Vancouver Canadians schedule so far this year. Vancouver Canadians have it tough this series. They've got the leading team of the North Division, and right on their heels, Hillsborough coming to town for Canada Day weekend. They're going to be here. They're also in first place in the South Division. So 2 teams in a row that the Canadians are going to have to measure themselves against, and it's a tough time, obviously, when you're measuring yourself at a record of 3-12. Vancouver Canadians will be on Sportsnet a few more times this year, including our next broadcast after this one. We will see you on July the 20th. It's an opportunity for the Vancouver Canadians to showcase what they're doing across Canada, and we look forward to having you along for the ride on that front. Now, the Vancouver Canadians, we got to get to it. Let's take a look at the North Division standings, Ricky, as it is a 3-horse race right now. You got Spokane, who, of course, is in town right now. 2 games off the pace is Everett. Right behind them, you've got Tri-City, and down at the bottom, the Vancouver Canadians. Now, Ricky, we'll get your thoughts on the Canadians and being 7 back just 2 weeks into the season in a second. Very quickly, we'll dip our toes into the South Division. Right now, it's a 2-horse race. But again, everybody in the South Division within striking distance. But Ricky, what do you do if you're the Vancouver Canadians? It hasn't gone right. Everything that could have gone wrong to this point has gone wrong. What do you do to just keep the nerves?
Well, I think the number one thing you got to do is just go out there and play defense. Limit mistakes. If you're able to do that, you're going to be in ball games. But when you're making a lot of mental mistakes, that's what drives coaches crazy. So hopefully they limit the mistakes. They just get back to going out there and having fun.
Yeah, the one thing that I like is the fact that in the Northwest League, you got 2 38-game halves. So I'm not ready to wave the white flag just yet, Ricky, but I will say this. It is good that they have a second half to look forward to.
Yeah, and that's big. If the first half doesn't go their way, then they got the second half to put it all together. It's a young team, but I think it's time for these guys to step up. They've experienced life as a professional here the past few weeks. Now it's time to turn it into a different gear and get going.
Absolutely. Now, Ricky's keys to the game, which, by the way, in our last broadcast, all of a sudden became a fan favorite. Everybody wanted to see what Ricky Romero was doing. In addition to hanging out and playing golf every second day, he's got some keys to the game. Ricky, what are your keys to the game tonight?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, defense. You have to limit mistakes. You have to go out there and play the game the right way. Number 2 is the energy, the body language. You can't get down when something happens. You got to pick each other up. And number 3 is going back to the basics. As a starter, as pitchers, go out there, strike 1, pound the zone. Hitters, attack the fastball. And if they do that, like I said, I think they're going to be in good shape and they're going to start winning some ball games.
Well, the Vancouver Canadians will turn to a guy that I really like, right-hander Gabriel Ponce. In his 3rd appearance for the Vancouver Canadians this year, very fluid and very smooth. And, you know, we've seen some good pitching performances this year by the Vancouver Canadians. Ponce slow and steady as she goes. And the one thing that I like right now is that the Canadians have one of their best going to the hill tonight. All right, we'll take our break here. When we come back, minutes away from the first pitch, he's Ricky Romero. Caroline Frolic will join us throughout the night as well. I'm Rob Fay. Welcome to Vancouver. This is A&W Vancouver Canadians baseball right here on Sportsnet Pacific. Well, back Back here at Scotiabank Field at Nat Bailey Stadium, ready for a little Saturday night baseball in the heart of Vancouver. I'm Rob Fay, alongside me, Ricky Romero, of course, former Toronto Blue Jay standout. Caroline Frolic will chime in throughout the night. She's got a lot to cover tonight. We'll be checking in with her in just a couple of minutes' time. First inning of tonight's game is brought to you by Cloverdale Paint, the official paint of the Vancouver Canadians, with over 65 locations across Western Canada alone. But most importantly, get this, it's formulated and made right here at BC. Cloverdale Paint, proudly British Columbian. Ricky Romero, right out of the gates, good friend. You've lost 7 in a row. You're in front of the sold-out stadium here tonight. What do you do to get right?
Set the tone. As a pitcher, you try to set the tone. You try to get a good tempo going. Strike one, get quick outs, get your team back on offense, and if you do that, you get in a good rhythm, and good things will happen.
Well, that is Gabriel Ponce, who is in the number 38. Very smooth delivery as Ponce winds and works. A ball that is lashed into center field, just beyond the reach of Tanner Morse at second base, and it's a leadoff single for Spokane. Let us set up the defense for the Vancouver Canadians here. It is probably the best lineup that we've seen from Casey Candell in some times. Start you off with the outfield. It'll be Abadesa in center, a bookended by Will Robertson, who we mentioned in the pregame. At right, over in left is McGregory Contreras. Around the horn of the infield, it'll be Brito at third. The combination of Schwecke and Morris up the middle. Rodriguez on at first, and the catcher, second-year Vancouver Canadian, Brett Wright. Tanner Gardner, the DH, steps in, hitting .214, but he's sandwiched in between two guys well over 3. The runner at first, just underway. Pitch on its way, foul back into the mesh. One thing that I've seen so far with the Vancouver Canadians is there's a lot of time in between pitches, a lot of 3-2 counts, things that defenders sitting out there in right field and left field, just it drives them crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's why the key is pounding that zone. You don't want to have your defense on their heels, and you want to have them on their toes the whole game. If you give up a base hit, so what? Get to the next pitch, get a ground ball, and think positive. It all comes down to, like I said earlier in one of my keys, the energy. Have that presence out there and know that you're going to get the job done. Know that you're going to get a ground ball right here with the runner on first base and turn 2.
High fly ball into foul territory. Third base side, not a lot of real estate. Right up against the fence, and it's in the glove. Ronnie Brito, wonderful play. Battling both the elements and then, of course, the railing that protects the Canadians' players. And, Ricky, not a lot of foul territory here. There's really about, I'd say, probably 25, 30 feet at most. And Brito's able to stay with it and produce the first out of this game. And is this a feel thing?
Most definitely. I think you rely a lot on your dugout. Guiding you right there and making sure you have room, and obviously the catcher has a lot of say in that and making sure that you're clear or you're not clear, and good play right there by Brito.
So now the 3-hitter steps into the box. Blaine Krim, first time that we've seen him. Very early in his season, but he's hitting .360. Nice gaudy number. When you're hitting well, nothing's better than going up to the plate and all the numbers are on the video board. But when you're struggling, you wish that the power went out. Runner at first. 1 out, just dipping our toe into a Saturday night baseball game between Spokane and Vancouver. Throw over to first base. Ponce's got good footwork. You know, when we talk about pickoff moves, we talk about the quickness and contorting your body, getting it over there. Is it a footwork thing? Is it a timing thing? Describe what a good pickoff move looks like to you.
Yeah, for a right-hander it is. For me, being left-handed, it was all just you got to learn how to read. I didn't have a good move, but I quick step, I lifted my leg, so it just kept the guy at first base honest. But as a right-hander, yeah, it's all footwork and how quick your arm is too. And if you get there quick, sometimes you get those outs.
You had a pretty good move.
It was okay. Most of the guys that most of the guys that I got always went on first move. So
middle infield for the Canadians at double play depth. Runner took a couple of strides off as the pitch misses and the count goes to 1-1.
But you see what I'm talking about here, Rob. It's early in the game, but you can already see the tempo Ponce is establishing right here. And it's just getting that ball back, getting on the rubber, and here comes the next pitch.
Working from the stretch, looking in. Ball chopped out to the second baseman. Could be two. Flip to Schwecke for one on the first. That will help. Canadians have lost 7 in a row, and what did they want to do? They wanted to follow Ricky Romero's keys to the game, set the tempo, a little bit of energy as well. Luis T. I told you, Ricky, they love when you come to town. They want to know when you're in this city. We'll take our break on our way to the bottom of the first inning. It will be Cameron Eden, Tanner Morris, and Yorman Rodriguez. That's the 1-2-3 who will take their swings against right-hander Teodoro Ortega. You're watching A&W Vancouver Canadians baseball, and you're doing it right here on Sportsnet Pacific. Nice, tidy inning for the Vancouver Canadians at the top of the first as everybody's still trickling in to Scotiabank Field at Nat Bailey Stadium. If you've been here, you know it's fashionably late. Nobody shows up right at 7:05, but by the time you get to the second, you got the mustard on the hot dog, and you are ready to go. If you want to look like the team, we got you covered. Grab your latest C's hat at the Canadian Baseball store. You can go to CanadiansBaseball.com if you want to do it. From retro stuff to on-the-field stuff, all the way through to designer stuff, the C's Team Store is a one-stop shop for all your traditions. Visit us at CanadiansBaseball.com. Well, let's take a look at the batting order for the Vancouver Canadians. It'll be Cameron Eden, followed by Tanner Morris and Yorman Rodriguez. They'll get their swings against right-hander Teodoro Ortega, whose first pitch is a fastball lofted into left field. Ranging over is Anderson, setting up under it and coming down with it for the first out here in the bottom of the first. After Rodriguez, you've got Will Robertson. Circle that name. He's hitting cleanup. He's struggled so far, but everybody keeps waiting for him to break out. Trevor Schwecke hitting 5th, Contreras 6th. Bottom of the order has really struggled for the Vancouver Canadians. Right, Brito Abadesa got to get going. Brito, in 40 plate appearances, he's not going to want me to say this publicly, has struck out 25 times. Yeah, that's the scouting report right now. Tanner Morris in the box. First pitch is a strike. Brito, of course, one of two players that came to Toronto in the exchange for Russell Martin, who went to the Dodgers.
I was watching him hit batting practice earlier, and you see it. You see the glimpses of what he has to offer. It's just a matter of him getting back on his good side, confidence, getting up there, knowing he's the man. And if he does that, he should be good. But he's got a lot of talent, and hopefully we can see him unravel into a good player.
High fly ball in on the hands, unfortunately. Another lofted fly ball at a shallow center, waving everybody off. Coming down with it is Strom. Had a couple of players converging on that baseball. Let's take a look at the defense right now for the Spokane Indians. Strom in center, Anderson in left. They've already been called upon in this game. Luis Asuncion in right. We'll get to his story in a couple of moments. Inoa at third, Krim over at first. Great combination up the middle. How about being a shortstop with the last name Hoover? There's almost too many jokes there. And there's also a great marketing opportunity. And behind the plate, the catcher tonight is Scott Capers.
And again, I think I like what I see. They're attacking the fastball. I talked to Casey and Aaron before the game, and that's one of the things they told me. They want to see their guys attack that fastball, and I think if they do that, obviously that's not, you don't want to pop out twice, but you want to stay aggressive with that fastball. And it's only a matter of time before the hits start falling for this team.
Yorman with the second best batting average in the entire Northwest League. Pitch misses and the count goes to 1-1. By the way, visiting team batting order brought to you by Hayall Southern Style Hard Iced Tea in the South. Our tea is always served iced and hard. Right-hander Ortega looking in, has his sign. Winds and works with the sun at his back. Fastball swung out and missed. And the count goes to 1-2. On a team that has not done a lot offensively, Canadians are minus 38 in the old, runs for, runs against. Yorman is this one blip on the radar. What a story he's been. 1-2. Breaking pitch misses inside. And last year, Rodriguez was a guy that was always trying to swing for the fences. He was told that he was a kid with power. He's shortened up, he's tightened up, and boy, can you see the transformation in his game.
He looks really comfortable.
2-2 is lashed foul.
Even that right there.
Yes, I took the words out of my mouth. What did you see there?
He's protecting. He he saw a fastball away, and he took it that way. And he's not trying to do much. He knows he's got 2 strikes on him, and he's battling. And that, like I said, that's what you want to see out of your guys. You want to see them go up there and battle, put up good ABs.
2-2, okay. Another pitch fouled off.
He seems to be on that fastball right now.
The fastballs, you'll notice a lot of guys, takes them a week or two, and then they realize that it's not just every third day in college that you get a guy that can throw the 90s. Everybody can. It's the breaking pitches that seem to be take a little more time to dry the paint on the wall. Here comes yet another 2-2 from Ortega. Right back up the middle. And that, to me, is Yorman Rodriguez's season offensively in a nutshell. Beautiful piece of hitting right there.
You hit it where it's pitched, and that's exactly what he did right there. Took that breaking ball down and away and just let his hands do the work. You see it there perfectly. Boom. Almost took his head out.
And he did spin the cap. The thing I like about that right there is, and you brought it up, you hit it where it's pitched, and power guys assume that they've got to pull everything and hit everything to the moon, and he just put the barrel of the bat out there and let the good things happen. So now with 2 outs, here's Will Robertson. Fastball low and in. The count goes to 1-0. Speaking of power, this young fella out of Creighton University had a lot of power in the NCAA, and everybody keeps waiting for him to have that breakout game. It has not come yet. He's hitting 156. Pitch is low.
You go back to Rodriguez, though, and talking about his power. But when you see something like this, it amazes you even more, because there's a kid right there at the plate that feels comfortable. He knows what he's doing. He's got a plan, and he executed it perfectly.
Pitch is low, so now all of a sudden 3 balls and no strikes. Hasn't thrown a strike since the old cap got tipped. Rodriguez is now 22 years old. Actually, he turns 22 next week. Kid out of Venezuela. I always wonder, Ricky, when people that are playing baseball start looking at their birth certificate saying, man, I wish I was a couple of years younger.
A lot of times, trust me.
I can imagine. 3-0.
A couple? No. Maybe 5, 10 years.
When did you first think of it? When did you first realize, wow, I'm not, that 21-year-old or 22-year-old anymore?
Body aches. It just feels different. The recovery time, the older you get. But if you take good care of your body, it should be okay.
Yeah. Wish you'd have told me that 20 years ago. Pitch foul back brings the count to 3 balls and 2 strikes. No score. Just here at the bottom of the first, Ricky Romero, Rob Fay will be joined by Carolyn Frolic at a couple of seconds down to field level. Robertson's got the right body type. He is the prototypical outfielder, 6'2", 220.
You see it, and this is an adjustment he has to make to pro ball. Like you said, different pitchers in college. Now you're facing a lot of guys with power stuff, a lot of power breaking balls, and you just have to make that adjustment. That's part of being a pro, and he's going to make it. I mean, the time I got to talk to him, he seems like a very, very smart kid, and it's a kid that you definitely see the potential. So it's just a matter of him putting it together. If he does that, we're going to see some special things out of him.
3-2. He's a ball hit out towards the second baseman, fielded cleanly. Should be the inning. Irizarry throws over to Krim, and it is. If you're scoring with us somewhere, that's a 4-3 putout. Canadians will strand one, and it will send us to the top of the second. But before we get there, let us get you down to the third member of our broadcast team. Here is Caroline Frolic.
Often ask me what I like about my job. Well, I get to talk about sports for a living, and people bring me food. Seriously, though, here the ballpark cuisine at the Nat is next level, and I have the Bennett family to show you what I'm talking about. Now, this is the home plate pretzel. Now, can we zoom in on this? It is the size of a medium pizza. It's bigger than your head. It's even bigger than my TV here. Now, guys, are you going to need some help eating that?
Yeah.
Right answer. There I meet my 2 new best friends. And then next, I'm going to sneak around. Mom, what do we got here? Now, this item had people feeling all kinds of ways. I'm going to sneak over here. Had people feeling all kinds of ways. It is the ground roll double. See what we did there? It's West Coast meets baseball. It is a sushi roll hot dog. That's right, sushi roll hot dog. And
I'm going to try it?
You're gonna-
Oh, God, no. Here. Okay.
we're going to have you eat live on television. Isn't it good? See, I was a little nervous about it. I can't lie to you about it because I'm a horrible liar. So if it tasted really bad, it would be awkward.
Excellent. Very good.
Right?
For the baseball. Perfect.
Perfect. Baseball and West Coast. And this is legendary at the Nat. It is a 3-foot hot dog. Literally a 3-foot hot dog. My buddy Ian ate one all by himself. Shout out to Ian on opening day. Witness. Now, are you going to need a little help eating this?
Oh, yeah.
You can't eat 3 feet of hot dog?
Not in my life.
All right. So what did I tell you? Food at the Nat. Legendary. Rob, Ricky, hungry?
Yeah, we might. I don't know. I guess if we all took a foot of that hot dog, we'd be able to help him out. So here's Gabriel Ponce getting ready to toe the rubber for his second inning. I think the pretzel's the one that would probably put me to sleep after I ate it. I mean, there's a lot of carbs. There's a lot of carbs in that.
Very unique food around this stadium.
You kind of got it in the minor leagues, don't you?
Yeah.
First pitch is up the zone. Luis Asuncion making his 4th tour of duty in the Northwest League. He played here in 15, 16, actually hold on, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And got us for a 2-run shot last night, part of an 8-2 win for Spokane. But Ricky, if you told me that for 4 straight summers I'd be in the short season Northwest League, what am I telling myself right now?
I don't know. I mean, and I heard he's put up good numbers too, so you kind of sit there and wonder. I mean, maybe he's still working on some stuff. I don't know. At some point, they got to challenge him, though, and if he's done good at this level, especially 4 years of it.
High drive into left field. It is warning track, it is wall, but it is foul. That is good news. And, you know, Asuncion just sits there and waits for that dead red fastball, and Canadians have obliged him. He got a home run off the Canadians in the first series of the 2019 season, and then got us again last night, just as the Canadians were starting to get some stuff done.
It's a big boy, too, 6'5".
Yes, he is. By the way, Ricky's second inning brought to you by House Out Brewing Company. House Out Brewing in downtown Squamish. Beautiful place. Welcome to Sea to Sky Country. Pinch hitter swung on and missed. Brett Wright steps forward. Has to watch out for the black lacquered bat as he steps forward, able to record the strikeout. And that produces a very big out, being able to get past the 4-hitter, Luis Asuncion.
Maybe that's his problem right there, Rob. That breaking ball down and away.
It's a lot of guys' problems.
But in all honesty, if that's a guy that's been killing you all series, even the first series of the year, and you see a swing like that, you set up that pitch every time he gets to the plate tonight. You have to. Guys in the bullpen should be paying attention to what's going on and say, okay, he has trouble chasing that pitch. I got to get ahead. Because like you said, he's waiting for that dead red fastball. And those guys, when they get it, they don't miss it.
There's the ball lofted into foul territory down the first base line, and a wonderful play from Yorman Rodriguez. And Rodriguez did something real nice there. You are always thinking that you got to keep your eye on the prize, but every once in a while it's okay if you think you know the general vicinity of where it's going to be able to set yourself up under it. Yorman was able to retrieve that baseball at a real nice play. Canadians, Ricky, don't have a bona fide first baseman. They don't have that prototypical big stocky kid. Yorman has been the Canadians' catcher this season and almost the de facto first baseman because, again, I don't know if it's even coming in the draft, but there's nobody on their way to Vancouver that is the, quote, real first baseman.
Hey, but a lot of catchers can play first base, so it makes sense.
Fastball called for a strike. Yeah, but how many of them are 5'10"?
Not very many.
Vancouver Canadians at a scoreless tie here. Second inning, and Ponce's been real nice. Pitch low and away. The count goes to 1-1.
I love his tempo. Sorry to interrupt you. I love his tempo. And like I said, when you're able to get that strike over the plate, that first strike over the plate, you're able to pitch. Not just go out there and throw. You're able to pitch. And that's what he's doing so far.
2 balls and 1 strike. I was going to say, before I was so rudely interrupted, that Ponce in his last outing, good for 35 pitches. Today he's got up to 50. Fastball in for strike, and the count goes to 2-2 with 2 outs. Kennedy Rosari, nice 296 batting average, but right now looking out at a right-hander for the Canadians. It has been pretty fancy. Thank you very much. Has his sign. Here comes a 2-2. Fastball load away, 3-2. Before the evening is done, you got to tell me about your golfing, not just from this morning, but earlier this week you were golfing with a number of former Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll definitely get into that.
I also want to know what you really shot. 3-2 on its way. It will hit Irizarry, not obviously where Ponce wanted to put that last offering, but it will put a runner on for the Indians with 2 outs and nothing brewing. And it will bring up Christian Inoa. Inoa is one of these kids that I always seem to find in Spokane. Now, the Indians are the minor league affiliate of the Texas Rangers, and it seems like every couple of years they've got that 16, 17, 18-year-old child prodigy. A couple of years ago, it was Jurickson Profar at shortstop. Christian Inoa was here as a teenager and now doing his 3rd season in the Northwest League. Still young, but at some point, you got to advance him, or is this the right call as the ball gets away from the first baseman? And there is a little chalked area just to the right of that first base area that if it goes into it, that's out of play, and that's going to give the runner the extra 90 feet. So the first gaffe of the game goes to the Canadians, and that's unfortunate. The error will be charged to Ponce, and now you get a runner in scoring position. Actually going to charge Yormont with the error on that one. Pitch in for strike. And Ricky, one of your keys to the game was no freebies.
Yeah, and little simple mistake like that, you don't play catch and you give the runner an extra 90 feet, and now he's in scoring position with 2 outs. He's running on everything, and like I said, you got to limit these things. These things can't happen, and if it does, like I said, energy, body language, know that you're going to get this guy out. And right now he's ahead 0-2, and hopefully he's able to make a pitch where he's able to put him away here.
Well, Ponce going to try to do it there. There was a wonderful changeup, left it a little high. I always get nervous with changeups that are belt high, but
hitters love those.
Oh, I bet they do.
Sure.
0-2. Here comes a pitch on its way. A little bit low and outside. 1-2. Inoa hitting 173. And Ricky, I think just to circle back on the point very quickly, you got a kid that, you know, has repeated the cycle. And I understand leaving a kid to saturate a little bit at this level is one thing, but it seems like every year his average is declining.
And that's probably one of the reasons why he continues to repeat this level. That's a good pitch.
Yes,
right
he
there.
did. Wonderful pitch from Gabriel Ponce, just what the doctor ordered. So, yeah, he hit Kennedy Rosari, but you know what? He came back and he picked up his 2nd strikeout of the baseball game, and the Canadians will strand that runner at 2nd. We'll take our break here. When we come back, it'll be Schwecke, Contreras, and Brett Wright. Vancouver Canadians going to try to open up the scoring in this baseball game on a beautiful, pristine night for baseball here in Vancouver, BC. I'm Rob Fay. That's Ricky Romero. You're watching A&W Vancouver Canadians baseball tonight. You're doing it on Sportsnet Pacific. Don't miss any of the action this season at Nat Bailey Stadium. Get your Canadians tickets today. Call 604-872-5232. Or as always, you can go to CanadiansBaseball.com. Well, back here at Scotiabank Field at Nat Bailey Stadium, Vancouver Canadians had a good one. Scoreless early on, but Ricky, you take small victories within the war. And the Canadians, of course, on a 7-game losing streak. Even getting to the bottom of the 2nd, still locked in with Spokane, most people would be like, well, what's the big deal? But for a team that's scuffling, you take every inch you can get.
It's a big deal because
high drive into right, hold the phone. That's back to the warning track. Unfortunately, as Schrecke rounds first, the ball ends up in the glove of the big guy, Luis Asuncion, for the first out. My apologies, Ricky.
No, it's okay. It's a big deal because, as I said, you got to set a tempo. Last night, watching the game from the stands, the tempo wasn't there, and you could just tell the defense got flat-footed. The hitting wasn't intact. It just wasn't working together. Right now, you got a starter who's pounding the zone, getting quick outs, getting the team back on offense, and that's exactly what you want. That's a recipe for a victory right there.
Let's hope. Fingers crossed. You're 1-0 here in this ballpark this season, Ricky. We're keeping stats. First pitch misses. By the way, here's a number for you. Speaking of statistics, 1 for 475. Do you know what that is? 1 home run in 475 at bats for the Vancouver Canadians this season, and he in the box is the guy with the 1. As the count goes to 1-0, I know the power has been out at Nat Bailey this season. Contreras had 8 of them last year. Fastball to knees, called for a strike at 92 miles an hour. And the count goes to 1-2.
And I'm talking from a starter standpoint right here. Hitters hit mistakes, and you have to take advantage of those mistakes.
Well, there's a mistake. As McGregory Contreras wears a couple of stitches. So each team has hit a batter. Kenan Arizari, if you remember, was hit by Gabriel Ponce. No big deal. McGregory Contreras, the next half inning, decides to wear a little baseball. And now he's on at first with 1 out for Brett Wright.
And I think that's one of the things that not Aaron Matthews. Sorry, I have Aaron Sanchez FaceTime me earlier. That had that name in my head. But anyway, Aaron Matthews wants them to attack the fastball and get aggressive out there.
Like that. There's the ball lashed into left field, but ranging over, coming down with the baseball is Anderson. Very quickly back towards first. It's McGregory Contreras. Wright was thinking dead red fastball. The kid out of Auburn got what he wanted, and unfortunately is 0 for 1. One of Wright's claim to fame is he caught Casey Mize, who of course went first overall to the Detroit Tigers a year ago. So here is Ronnie Brito. And of course, as mentioned, it's been a tough start to the season, to say the least. 40 at-bats, 25 strikeouts. But Ricky, you said you saw something in him, and
you see it. You definitely see it. And nobody wants to struggle. And it's always a tough position to be in, but I think you have to have confidence in yourself and come to the ballpark ready to work every day and know that it's going to turn around.
Both teams with 1 hit in this game. Contreras with a slender lead over at first base. Pitch on its way. Big, nice, biting, breaking pitch in for strike, and now it's 0-2. And that has been the kryptonite to the red cape of Ronnie Brito, is that breaking pitch. Struck out in 3 separate plate appearances in yesterday's game, part of an 0 for 3 night. And now Ortega will step to the back of the mound. Beautiful night. Ballpark looks absolutely immaculate, as it has all season. Ross Barron, the young groundskeeper extraordinaire, has done a real nice job of the ballpark. Plays real well. Here's the 0-2. There goes the runner. Pitch is called for a strike, so the throw down to second is irrelevant. The inning is over. Everybody having a little excitement, but Ronnie Brito strikes out, and just like that, the inning comes to the end. Brito didn't like the call, and now a couple of people confused, but all is well. So the Canadians empty-handed for their efforts here at the bottom of the second, as Spokane now works their way off the field. And I think the argument, just to end the frame, is they thought that maybe Brito got a little piece of the baseball, but unfortunately he did not. So Brito strikes out yet again. And we'll find our way to the top of the third. It is still scoreless. Spokane and Vancouver, coast to coast tonight. You're watching Vancouver Canadians baseball, presented to you by A&W, and you're doing it right here on Sportsnet Pacific. Beautiful evening for baseball here on the West Coast. Rob Fay, Ricky Romero, and Caroline Frolic. Happy to bring you A&W Vancouver Canadians baseball here tonight on Sportsnet Pacific. And all of a sudden we find ourselves at the top of the third. Now, Ricky, before we went to break, we were having a little confusion. There was an 0-2 pitch that you thought maybe wasn't a strike. And we'll get a chance to look at it here. Bit of a high angle, but as you see, that pitch looks a little bit low, but the home plate umpire, Brian Van Franken, called it a strike. The ball looked like it was in the dirt.
If I'm a pitcher, I want that pitch. And obviously it got him out of that inning, but I don't think that was a strike. And for a guy like Brito, who's been struggling, that's not what you want to get called on you right there.
Yeah. And there was this big to do out at second base with McGregory. Did he steal the base? The throw went down to second, but the inning had long.
I had written down the stolen base already for him. So
did you actually? I'll get the whiteout for you. Scott, does anybody still use whiteout? I'm not even sure.
I don't even know.
1 ball and no strikes. Gabriel Ponce out for his third inning to work. No bullpen activity for either team. Of course, Ortega's been stretched out. Ponce's on a little more of a, I guess you would say, shorter leash, but he's been outstanding in this baseball game so far.
You know what I like about him too, Rob? He's doing it at 87, 91, with such a calm demeanor. Just hitting his spots, and that's what it's all about. You hit your spots, it doesn't matter how hard you throw. I'm a firm believer in that. You're able to control both sides of the plate, keep them off balance with your off speed, you're in for a good night.
1-2, little roller out towards the shortstop, fielded cleanly. Quick throw over to first. And the out is recorded, and Scott Capers is now 0 for 1. You know, the more I sit beside you, Ricky, and this is only our second game together, but I kind of get the feeling that you're not really an analytics guy. You're not big into the sabermetrics, that there's still a little old school vibe to you in the way you watch a game.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I grew up on. Playing baseball, we're not robots out there. We're not computers. At the end of the day, you just have to go out there and play the game. And the game's been around for 100 years, for over 100 years, whatever it's been. It's baseball. It's 60 feet 6 inches. It's my best against your best, no matter how hard I throw. And we're seeing a perfect example of here tonight with Ponce. He's pitching, and that's what I like to see. You like to see guys pitching, not throwing 100 and lighting up the radar gun and having no idea where it's going. You want to see them pitch, and he's doing his job tonight.
He has. He's been pretty good. There was a pitch that was in for a strike, and Spokane, by the way, wearing those jerseys that are, I guess, a tribute to the Aboriginals in the region. Slow roller again out to the shortstop. Tough play. Quick throw over to first. Did they get him? You bet they did. Schwecke had to have real quick hands, and a lot of people will look at him coming in and say, wow, he covered a lot of real estate. But Ricky, it's all about that transfer to the throw, and that to me is where he makes that out.
He played it perfectly. But again, it goes back to throwing strikes, having a good tempo. Defense is on their toes right now, and they're doing what they should be doing, making those plays, and makes it exciting when you see something like that as a pitcher.
That's great camera work by our crew here. Bang, bang play, to say the least. Fastball in for a strike. Back up the elevator shaft we go to the top of the order. Kellen Strom struck a single. Just happens to be only base hit of the game here for the Spokane Indians, minor league affiliate of the Texas Rangers. Bit of a half swing. Base umpire summit. Willie Trainer, no relation to Megan, says no. And it is 1 ball and 1 strike.
And I know you brought up analytics, and yeah, some numbers might be good and might help, but let's not take that away from still going out there and competing, and not taking that aspect, or going out there competing and doing things like this, pitching, hitting. You know, I love to see the hit and running, the stealing bases. That's what makes the game exciting.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Wonderfully placed pitch, just missed. 2-2.
At the end of the day, it's still baseball, right?
The one analytic that I have a tough time, and we have the Rapsodo program here that the Blue Jays use. Yeah. He's exit velocity. Little dribbler. How about this? Out to Schwecke again. Nice strong throw across the dime, and the kid out of the University of Wisconsin, a busy bee. The old 3 up, 3 down, and the Canadians all of a sudden jettison forward to the bottom half of the third. It is still scoreless. Vancouver Canadians looking real good. Real good. Do we have Caroline Frolic? We do. We have Caroline, who caught up a little earlier today. She caught up with Casey Kendall, the Canadians manager.
Joining me now is C's manager, Casey Kendall. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, I hate to say this, but, you know, it's the elephant in the room, so to speak. 7 straight losses. What are you saying to your guys today?
I'll just keep battling, try and overcome the adversity, you know, do the little things that you need to do to win games, and try and fight through it.
And it's not for lack of trying. A couple of your guys have had some pretty big games. You want to tell us about somebody who has particularly got your eye in a positive way?
I don't know. Just last night, Robertson, we're down 6-0. He makes a diving play for a double play. That's the kind of effort you look for when things aren't going well, and you watch to see if players are still running the bases hard and still competing and putting forth effort. So our guys have been doing a good job of that. So can't complain about that.
It will gel eventually. Oh, let's hope it does on Canada Day weekend.
Oh yeah, that's true. That'd be great.
You heard it here first, folks. All right, C's manager Casey Candell, thank you so much for joining us. I'll let you get back to your guys.
Thank you, Caroline. I appreciate it.
Rob, Ricky.
Here's Caroline Frolic with Casey Candell. I don't know if I've ever met an easier going guy. There is something about Casey's demeanor that is just kind of like a lazy walk on a beach all by yourself on a Sunday. He's just so fun to be around, and wickedly funny sense of humor as well. So now the Canadians will try to get to the offense. All of a sudden we find ourselves at the bottom of the third inning in a wonderfully played game for this part. Third inning is brought to you by East Van Brewing Company. East Van Brewing Company, our neighborhood, your beer. Dominic Abadessa leads things off a little bit inside. Count goes to 1-0. Kid out of Huntington Beach. Looks exactly like the kind of kid that you would see coming out of Huntington Beach. That sandy brown hair coming out of the back of the old batting helmet. Ball out towards the second baseman on the line. Nice play by Irizarry. Throws over to first and makes the play, but Abadessa hits that one right on the screws. But unfortunately, right at the second baseman, who makes a real nice backhanded effort.
I know that can get frustrating for a team that's struggling. You hit a ball right on the nails. But stick with that plan and make sure you don't change a thing. And I know it can be frustrating and you go back to the dugout and it's a 4-3, but just know that it's going to turn around. You got to believe it.
Curveball a little bit inside at 74 miles an hour to Cameron Eden, the DH in this baseball game. I try to tell people that it's not necessarily about 1 for 3 and 0 for 4 and all that stuff. The manager's call is about hard contact. He'll say this guy had 3 plate appearances, hit it hard. There's a ball hit hard up the middle. Base hit for Cameron Eden, who is now 1 for 2 in this baseball game. And as Tanner Morris comes up, just to finish that thought, is at the end of a baseball game in the minor leagues, I don't know what they do at the major leagues, but in the minor leagues, the manager and the hitting coach and the pitching coach, they'll go back and they put their reports in, and then they call in what happened of the game, and they'll say Romero, 4 plate appearances, 3 hard contacts, drew a walk. Then on to the next player. It's not about batting average. It's about how many times did they square up the baseball.
Especially at this level, you want to see the development. And when you're able to do something like that, like you said, have 3 quality at-bats, that's what goes on the report. Yeah, you look up there and it's not the batting average that you want to see. But if you're putting up good ABs, this game works in strange and mysterious ways, and you'll start getting jammed and getting base hits, So you got to take it and give it. It's just one of those things where it's a strange game. And you love it, but you hate it.
It's the old checks and balances. 1 ball and no strikes to Tanner Morris. Morris out of the University of Virginia. Pretty good Cavaliers program. The right-hander will snap throw over to first base to check in. Vancouver Canadians several years ago had another kid out of the University of Virginia that was a pretty good baseball player. Real good baseball player. When he was here, he played first base, and now he's one of the premier closers in Major League Baseball. Sean Doolittle. 1-0. He's a little pitch outside, throw down to seconds on. Got around it as the ball pops out of the glove, and a rare miscue. And I think, Ricky, there's 2 things that happen here. Obviously, it's a good throw. It's a 1-hop. It should be right there. But good hard running into the bag. I think that's a part of the equation.
100%. You put the pressure on the defense, and this is the little things that I like to see from a team offensively that's been struggling. Take the extra base, and even if he would have been out, hey, you're still being aggressive, and you're trying to make something happen for a team that's struggling scoring runs.
1-1. Pitch call for a strike on the outer third. I keep seeing you lean your head. You're looking, and here it is again. It's the back. Looks like the back foot is what popped that ball out of the glove. So a bit of a break for the Canadians in retrospect. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ball fouled off. Now you're shaking your head. What, is it the strike zone right now?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a pitcher, and I like those calls, but those are not strikes. That's like a college strike zone right there. Let's tighten it up a little bit.
Well, I got to remember these umpires are working their way up towards the bright lights of the major leagues as well.
That's true.
Sometimes I forget that in those heated moments.
No, yeah. And it's just, I think the competitor in me came out right there.
You're a competitive guy, man. There's no doubt about it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nice long look out at second. A second look to check in on the base runner. And now the right-hander kicks and fires. Ball that is hit into center. That's going to chase Strom back towards the warning track. Comes up with the baseball, but tagging and advancing is Cameron Eden. So the silver lining in the flyout for Morris, who, by the way, is now flown out deep to center in each of his first 2 plate appearances, is it gets Eden to becoming 90 feet away from the first run of this baseball game.
Yeah, that's another great at-bat right there, too.
So we're going to take a look at this steal one more time, just to kind of, again, the reason that Eden is at third is he gets a really good break, but watch the back foot. That's what pops the ball out from the very sure-handed middle infielder.
I love the aggressiveness, though. I love it. Tags up right there. He's 90 feet away from scoring. Maybe a wild pitch here. Who knows?
Not a lot of real estate behind home plate, but definitely a possibility. There's a breaking pitch that finds its way in on the inner third. The count goes to 0-1 to Yorman Rodriguez.
This is the guy you want up in this situation.
Yorman singled in his only plate appearance in this baseball game, now getting close to hitting 400 for the season. I'm sure Lansing, team above us, would love to add a bat like that. Fastball is up, and now it's 1-1, and that's one of the blessings and the curse of being a fan of a minor league baseball team, is your guy gets hot for a couple of weeks, and guess what? Come to the ballpark one day and he's not here anymore.
But you love to see him when you see him on TV, though.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, and there's been a lot of great ball players that have gone through this team here.
1 ball and 1 strike. Pitch foul back. Count goes to 1-2. You know, there was one left-hander that we had in 2011. We had the 3-headed monster over the course of the season. We had Noah Syndergaard. We had Aaron Sanchez. Obviously, they've had great major league careers. But the third guy that I'm about to mention was the one guy I thought was going to be better than them all. His name was Justin Nicolino. And for some reason, just never was able to get over the hump. And, of course, was released by the Twins this season. And I always thought that left-hander was going to be the guy.
Yeah.
1-2. He's low and in the dirt, and the count goes to 2-2.
You see this approach by Rodriguez here, and you can just tell he's so comfortable at the dish right now. So comfortable.
2 balls and 2 strikes. That base hit that he got earlier bumps his batting average to .391. Getting into Vladdy territory here. 2-2. High fly ball above first base. It's going to go into foul territory. I think this one's going to stay at the field of play. It does, and it ends up with a glove of Krim. And unfortunately, the Canadians will strand Eden at third base. Vancouver Canadians are going to go to the top of the 4th in a game that is just zipping along, knock on wood. Canadians 7 games out of first. This is the team they're chasing in the standings. If they're going to make up ground, it's got to happen tonight. When we come back, Gardner, Krim, and Asuncion 2, 3, 4 in the order for Spokane as you're watching A&W Canadians baseball on the left coast tonight right here on Sportsnet Pacific. It is absolutely perfect. And, you know, the last couple of days in Vancouver have been cold and overcast. It's almost like the baseball gods knew that we had this broadcast tonight here on Sportsnet Pacific, as it is all sunshine and baseball. I'm Rob Fay alongside Ricky Romero and Caroline Frolic here at the ballpark. And if you got a ticket to this one, you got a good one. Vancouver Canadians have been so competitive in this game. Fourth inning brought to you by Steamworks, which is Vancouver's original steam brewery.
You really can't beat this weather, too.
Especially when you got Steamworks.
Maybe they'll send some up here then. I'm just kidding.
You're not, though. That's Tanner Gardner in the box. Fastball. Oh, curveball, pardon me. In for a strike, and the count goes to 0-1. Ponce continues to toe the rubber real well. It suggests, I'm sorry you guys can't see it as you're watching this broadcast. Ricky looks over and winks. You know what that means. It means he's absolutely wanting Steamworks here. There's a wonderful swing and a base, so the count very quickly goes to 0-2. I'm more particular to the Hayalls. They got this new mint flavor. It's pretty doggone good. 0-2 from the righty. Ball blistered but foul down the first base line into the Telus Barbecue Picnic in the Park. That's where you can have your all-you-can-eat buffet.
Actually, I think I had a Steamwork earlier this morning.
Out on the
golf course.
What, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning?
I was surprised. The guy I was playing with, he was, hey, you drink beer? I was like, not at 9 in the morning, but
lazily hit fly ball out towards the shortstop, fielded cleanly. And just like that, the Canadians continuing to get a yeoman's-like effort out of starter tonight for the Canadians, Gabriel Ponce. Ortega, we expected. We knew the numbers on Ortega were very good. Ponce was kind of hit and miss through his first 2 outings, but this by far is his best start of the 2019 season for the Canadians. Fastball pumped in for a strike, and Ricky, you said it right. Just keep pounding the zone, and that is all he's done tonight.
Keep pounding it, and till they make the adjustment, you keep pounding that zone. You start seeing some different swings, and that's when you change it a little bit. But why change something if it's working?
Yeah.
He's doing exactly what I wanted to see, which is get ahead, pound the zone, down and away, up and away.
A little bit of everything.
Throw a little bit of everything.
Well, how about that? A fly out in a foul territory. Yorman hauls it in, and just like that, there's 2. And here comes Casey Candell, and he's got a quick conversation. And you know what?
Tremendous.
As boys to men used to croon, it's the end of the road for Gabriel Ponce. What a wonderful outing. Bullpen door slides open. A little hop at his step. Why not?
You should definitely be proud of that, build off of that more than anything. And
so the bullpen door will swing open, and you're the next guy in line. And the guy in front of you has given you enough data for 3 2/3. You mentioned something that I actually really thought was a little nugget, that if you're a kid or a guy in high school or college, is something you should pay attention to. Even though you're in the bullpen and you got your candy bag and all your buddies there just chewing the fat, there's still work to be done.
absolutely. He just went out there and gave you 3 2/3 of good pitching, and he set the tone. So as a reliever, you come in and you do the exact same thing, and it doesn't change. Let them adjust to you more than anything, and I think if that happens, we're going to continue to see these guys get tied up a little bit, because you can tell the guys from Spokane, they're a little uncomfortable at the dish right now. And like I said, it wasn't done with overpowering stuff. It was just keeping them off balance. And hopefully we see this out of Poundler right here.
All right, so Ricky, you know that when you come to Vancouver, we got to reassess the big things that are important. I wish I could get it more analytic, but let's take you back to the sushi race. Oh, look at that. Sanaharu Soy pulling up in 5th right now. 2-horse race between one of the chopsticks and the glob of wasabi. And today it is Sticks who wins.
That's a big deal here.
Are you lying to me? If we ever didn't do that one night, there would be like mass hysteria in this ballpark. I'm not lying to you. Between that and the dancing groundskeepers, it's actually all that matters.
It's a staple.
Randy Pondler's coming to this baseball game. These fans do not want to be cheaped out. And you know what? Take last night, for example. Canadians in the 8th inning are down 8-2. This entire stadium, sold out as usual, was singing to Bon Jovi. They were just having the time of their life. I'm like, man, you guys are about to lose your 7th game in a row. Completely oblivious to it. But that's the beauty of coming to this particular venue. It's almost like a patio that just happens to have a baseball game going on.
That's the beauty of Canadians, period. They know how to have a great time. And
A lot of
there's
C's
nothing
merch.
like it.
It's true. Every once in a while, they'll do a pan, and I'll see one of my buddies, and I'm just like, God, I hope he's not that guy. Because there's always that guy in the crowd over the course of the night. Luis Asuncion will take on Randy Pondler, the left-hander. First pitch misses outside. It's got a little hit and miss for Randy, who was the opening day starter for the Vancouver Canadians last season. Back doing his second tour. And the old number 44 has his sign. Ball out towards the third baseman. Fielded cleanly. Brito, nice strong throw across the diamond. And Randy picks up right where Gabriel left off. Just getting a clean ground out. Ronnie Brito equal to the task. So the Canadians looking good. But before we head to the bottom of the fourth to see if the Canadians can get the first run of this baseball game, let us go back to more with Caroline Frolic.
Well, guys, I just want to take a second to tell you about a couple of games we have coming up here at the Nat. Beginning this Tuesday, that's July the 2nd, it is Ryan Borucki bobblehead night. Or should I say former Vancouver Canadian Ryan Borucki. Got to get here early because only the first 1,000 fans will be taking a little mini Ryan home with them. And then the week after, on July the 8th, the Monday, it is Vernon Wells night. Yes, the Superstar Series continues. Vernon Wells, Blue Jay great, will be here to meet and greet the Seas fans. And a nicer guy in professional sports I don't think you will ever meet. Am I right, Ricky Romero, former teammate?
Great teammate. Great teammate. Cannot say anything good. There's so many good things I can say about it.
Kind of funny because when he got his mega contract in Toronto, fans actually near the end of his tenure started to turn on him because they felt like his contract was weighing down the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and you know what? It happens. I mean, he didn't want to struggle, but one thing he remained was a leader in that clubhouse. He never really, I'm sure it wore on him, but when he came to the clubhouse, he was ready to work, and that's one thing that I always admire about him. It's not like he came in and he blew everyone off. No, he was a pro about it, and like I said, nobody likes to struggle. I've been in that situation too, and it can get lonely. But you know what? The one thing you still can do is go out there and be a good teammate and be a good person, and that's what he was. He always was generous, and I saw him once. We were in Cleveland, I believe, and it was a small little gesture. It wasn't a big deal. We were at Dunkin' Donuts ordering a coffee. He pays for me and then hands the cashier $100 and say, just pay for everyone in line. And he just walks away. Little things like that, that just, I'm not saying because he did that, he's what he is, but that's just who he really was, just a generous person and a really, really awesome teammate. I love having him patrolling center field for me. He was one of the best center fielders at one point.
You know what I should do? And I'm on minor league salary, so this might be a little hard. When he comes, I should bring him a box of Dunkin' Donuts, and when he opens it, there'll be a $100 bill in it. You think he'd take it?
He probably won't even remember.
Oh, man.
I don't know.
Okay. And I'm just joking. I ain't got $100 to put in that thing. Come on. Who are you kidding? 2 balls and 1 strike here to Will Robertson. Ball that is laced into center, and this is actually going to chase Strom back a little bit towards the old manually operated scoreboard. Comes down to time, and again, this is one of those players, and again, a drafted kid from this year out of Creighton University, and everybody was talking about the power. He is starting to square up the ball, and Ricky, sooner or later, those are got to drop.
Those floodgates are gonna open. They are. And he's just got to stay patient, stay within himself, and not get lost in that transition of, oh man, start feeling sorry for himself. Go out there and continue to do the job and be a professional about it. I know it's frustrating, and nobody likes to struggle. That's the one thing that I wish fans understood more. Nobody likes to go out there and struggle.
Did you take the game home with you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, and it's tough. I mean, when you're in that position of struggling, and that bad stretch that I had in 2012, sleepless nights, and now looking back at it, I wish I would have had something else. I had a little bit of an outlet like golf or something that gets your mind away from it.
2-0 is another ball laced into center. This one's going to be tough, and it will drop. Trevor Schwecke is that one guy for the Vancouver Canadians this summer that has just hit everything right on that 45-degree launch angle, and he has been a pleasure to watch. The kid out of the University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee just has transitioned from the college game to the professional game as well as maybe anybody's I've seen in the last couple of years. And, you know, even first-round guys, like a couple of years ago, Logan Warmoth came here in 2017, the highly touted prospect that, of course, you know, was along with Nate Pearson. They both got attached as like the blue chip guys, and Logan had a decent batting average in Vancouver, but they felt like they were empty hits, like, you know, a hit that would come when you're down by 4 or up by 5. Trevor's been one of those guys that could just rally and just be there every time for you, and I just loved his approach to the game, and it seems like his hits come with purpose and come at the right time.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you need. You need a guy like that in your lineup, one that's able to go out there, grind out at bats, and come through when the team needs you. And I heard you use the word launch angle right there. My analytics, buddy.
Well, but okay, now that's funny you say that. So you think that that's a baseball thing?
I wasn't going to let that slip away.
Okay, that's fine. And anybody that's ever listened to me on the radio knows when it comes to that stuff, I don't know what I'm talking about at all. You know where I get that from? The old Nintendo video game, Track and Field. That if you threw the javelin at 45, it would actually go a little bit further. That's what I know as launch angle. The Konami video game. Fastball misses low and away. The count goes to 2-1. The greatest thing that I ever found out for Nintendo, remember the old button, the A and the B, is when you got the pen, and then you could just go back and forth with the pen really fast, and then all of a sudden you're breaking records. You're like, this is the greatest thing ever.
I'm sure a lot of our listeners don't know what a Nintendo is, though.
Dude, I'm only 45. Come on, man.
Hey, this new generation doesn't know what a PlayStation is.
That's true. All right, fastball out to right field. You're going to make me cry in my beer here. That ball is caught, unfortunately, by Luis Asuncion, so Schwecke is still on at first, and it'll bring up Brent Wright. Now, Wright's one of those kids that, here's a stat for you, Ricky. Last year, he had 11 hits for the Vancouver Canadians, and 5 of them were home runs. That's pretty good.
Well, it would be good if he uses one of those hits here for a 2-run shot.
He's due.
He's due.
And people do know what Nintendo is. I'm not ready to give up on that.
I do.
First pitch from the right-hander. Catches the outside corner, and the count goes to 0-1.
Maybe our good friend Aaron Sanchez, who's listening, doesn't know what Nintendo is.
He's right on the bubble. Now, John Schneider, of course, the coach, he absolutely knows about it. I was telling him, and they got one of those little Nintendo minis, and it's got like the 700 games pre-programmed.
Oh, yeah.
It's the biggest time waste you'll ever take on, but it's awesome. Your whole childhood in one box. Oh, pitch fouled off, and the bat goes into the stand. Souvenir for a fan. How about that? Brent Wright's got to get a little more sticko. See, this is the difference. So I got to tell people is, look at that. That fan, you should take that bat away from that kid. He's wearing a Red Sox jersey. Come on. Somebody's got to know better. Somebody go grab that. Guy with the Blue Jays, the guy with the Luis Leal jersey is trying to buy it from him. No balls at 2 strikes and 2 outs. So I get a couple of people that text me once a game, you know, like, hey, I see you on the TV or whatever. Your list of people that text you is far superior to those who text me. I get like the guy that coaches Little League down the street, and he calls me Brad. You get like Aaron Sanchez. You get like all these guys hanging out with you. Edwin gets traded to the Yankees, and you start FaceTime with Edwin Encarnacion. Must be nice. No balls at 2 strikes. With 2 outs, here comes the pitch. It's a high drive into left field. That's going to go back to the warning track, back to the wall, and it will go. Oh, it's actually be fair. Missing the glove, and all of a sudden, Wright's going to be standing up at second base, and the Canadians get a little gift from the baseball gods. Is coming in to score is Schwecke on a ball that went right into the corner, and As Anderson went into the corner, it goes into this one little part of the ballpark that's really hard to see, right down there by the 320 sign. And it just kicked up a little bit of dust, and the next thing you know, it bounces off the warning track, and the Canadians get the first run of the game. I was looking to see if it was going to go over the fence, and then all of a sudden, Anderson got right there. It stays fair, picks it up, hits it back in, and the Canadians have opened up the scoring.
Almost spoken into existence right there, Rob. Almost got a home run from him.
That would have been impressive. We would have just bought you an Airbnb for you to stay up here the whole summer. Well, good stuff. The Canadians on the board. They're up 1-0.
But that was a good at-bat by him right
Absolutely.
there. Took advantage of a ball that pitch that was up in the zone and drove it.
Breaking pitch in for a strike to Ronnie Brito.
Like I said, you do things like that, put the ball in play, let the defense do the work. Boom, right there. It works to their advantage.
You make this game sound so easy.
No, it's not easy. It is not easy.
Wright has got himself an RBI in his back pocket out at second base. Fastball swing and a miss. And Wright now busting for third, and he will end up coming to third safely because the ball on the relay goes away from Christian Noah. Don't know if that's the kind of base running that I would practice and preach, but the Canadians get another gift, and now run number 2 here in this inning, just 90 feet away. Sloppy might be the best way to describe it. They had him dead to rights in between second and third. Wright figured he'd just put his head down and go, and look at that. The ball just slips away from Manoah, who probably felt the presence of Brett Wright coming down, barreling on him. No balls and 2 strikes here to Brito. Pitch on its way. It's a ball that is hit foul. First base side out of play. Ugly can win every once in a while, too.
Absolutely.
I think we'll take it.
I think this is a chance where he can come through for his team and break out of his little slump that he's got going.
0-2 again. Fastball misses outside.
But doesn't it seem, too, that every time there's a guy struggling, he finds himself 0-2 every time. And it's just one of those things where it's almost like it's never going to end. Same as a pitcher, it's just you find yourself in trouble right off the gate. And it just snowballs, but you just have to be able to block that out.
Well, maybe next time. Tough break as Brito gets a really nice pitch from Ortega. Low in the zone, so unfortunately Brito has struck out yet again. But the Canadians do open up the scoring. Trevor Schwecke started the frame. 1-out single. Ended up coming around a double off the bat of Brett Wright, and Vancouver will go to the top of the 5th inning with the slenderest of leads. It is a 1-0 lead. We'll be back on the other side. You're watching A&W Canadians baseball here tonight on Sportsnet Pacific. Vancouver Canadians take a 1-0 lead to the top of the 5th in a game that has just been moseying along. Fun here at the ballpark. We've seen the sushi mascots. They have already raced. The Dancing Grounds crew coming up next, and lots coming on here at the ballpark. You know, we want to do something for you here as Randy Pondler is taking his final warm-up pitches here. Not very often that we get Ricky Romero, a former Major League All-Star, in the broadcast booth. I want you on social media here tonight to ask Ricky. You can hit us up by going to @VanCanadians and ask Ricky Romero any question you want that is baseball related or Kawhi related. See, Ricky's got this belief that he's going to the Lakers.
For the past week, I was in Toronto earlier this week, but I've been getting you Canadians going on that topic about Kawhi maybe going to the Lakers. And everyone looks at me so pissed every time.
Hey, man, it's a hot topic. He just took Toronto to the promised land.
He did his job. Now it's time for him to go home.
Enough. One ball. Dude, I'm not even in Toronto right now. And even I know that's sacrilege. 1 ball and no strikes to Ryan Anderson. Hitting .225. Left-hander Randy Pondler leaves a pitch over the plate. And it will go between the shortstop and the third baseman, Schwecke. Tried as he could to keep it in the infield. It's just a good old-fashioned leadoff single. And as good as it's been for the Vancouver Canadians in this baseball game, is now all of a sudden we find ourselves at the top of the 5th with a 1-0 lead. The margin for error here for the Canadians is 0. And considering they've lost 7 in a row, there are, teams that teach themselves how to win and teams that struggle with losing. And Ricky be nice if they could get a little insurance here and actually maybe breathe for the first time this week.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it goes back to them stick.
Boy, got him. How about that? There's that left-hander move.
That's a great move right there.
Yeah,
I love doing that step-off move. You usually catch them off guard because they're not expecting that. They're expecting you to lift your leg up and then go, and then they can get a jump on you.
Well, Randy's got a couple of different moves, and I want to hear it from a left-hander. Describe it a left-hander. What do you see here?
Well, he's looking, he's leaning. The runner's leaning right there. He's opening up, taking his lead, and he catches him off guard with that quick step off, and got him out.
It's that
simple as that.
Yeah, and you know,
and that's credit to Pondler right there, being aware of the runner and what he was doing. Caught him leaning a little bit on that lead, threw him out.
Clean slate with one out now. Kennedy Rosario in the box was hit by a pitch, if you remember. It was a fastball right in the numbers back in the second inning. As Randy winds and works. Broken bat little dribbler out to the second baseman. Fielded cleanly. Morris quickly over to first. And this is what the Canadians are doing tonight that they haven't done in the last couple of games, is take advantage of what's being given to them. They're not forcing it. They don't look like they're pressed tonight. They're letting the game come to them, and it just feels easy.
You hit it right on the money right there. They're letting the game come to them. When you do that, you play more relaxed. Pitching's in rhythm. The defense on their toes. They're ready for anything, and the at-bats have been great tonight. I know, like I said, there's only one run on the scoreboard, but they've been good, and just continue to do that.
1-0 is up at the zone. Players did have a meeting this morning, probably right around when you were cracking the Steamworks beer open. They were here at the ballpark.
At 9 a.m.?
Somewhere in that vicinity.
Wow. It's an early meeting.
Yeah, it is. 2-0 is up at the zone. Somewhere in the morning, the door closed and they had a come to Jesus meeting just about where they're at and what they got to do, and you can see the difference.
And sometimes you need that as a team, especially when you're struggling. You have to look at each other man to man and have those conversations that, hey, this is what we got to do to go out there and be successful, and let's not lose focus of that, our goals, whatever it is. And you can tell they came in with some energy. And also, I mean, when you're playing in front of all of Canada, I think that should take it up an extra notch too.
I would think so. Christian Enola drawing a walk. Pondler looking directly over at first base now, offers up a fastball in for a strike to Scott Capers. Again, if you want to ask Ricky a question here at the broadcast booth tonight, you can just hit us up on Twitter at Van Canadians. First one that we had was about the sushi race. So again, as mentioned, if you want to know the things that are most pressing, it's usually having to do with the sushi. Pitches up in the zone, and the count now balancing.
Pondler here it looks like he's just rushing through his delivery a little bit and have that 4-pitch walk. Just needs to get back down in the zone and let his stuff work.
Canadians are giving up just 2 hits, throw over to first. It is right around this time of night where the defense gets challenged not just by the opposition's offense, but the setting sun that right now is right behind the first baseman's shoulder. And I promise you, it's right looking back at you. The sun, that is. Pitch misses, and now the count goes to 2-1. The closed door meeting, when it's just the players, what is that? What are we looking at? What are we feeling there? Is it like fingers pointed? Is it productive? What were you going through?
I've been part of many of them, and sometimes it is calling somebody out. Hey, you got to do this better. I've also been part of others that, hey, what can we do as a group to get better? It can be either or, and like I said, it all just how you take it too. If you're a man about it and you step up and you're like, okay, I accept the challenge. And that's more than anything what you have to be willing to accept.
Well, how about this? Pondler might get his second pickoff of the inning, and he does just that. The left-hander dazzling with the way that he treated those base runners. Not only did Anderson get picked off, but now you can add the young phenom Christian Inoa to the party. He was breaking for second. Pongler throws over to first. Nice relay from Yormont out to second base, and the Canadians end up showing the Spokane Indians the door for the 5th straight inning. We'll find our way to the bottom of the 5th when we come back. 9-1-2 in the order. It's Dominic Abadesa, followed by Cameron Eden and Tanner Morris. We go to the break. It's Vancouver 1, Spokane nothing on a beautiful night for baseball. You're watching A&W Canadians baseball on Sportsnet Pacific. Well, if you want to look like a part of the team, you can grab your latest C's hat at CanadiansBaseball.com. From retro to on the field, right through to the designer stuff, the Canadians team store is your one-stop shopping tradition. Visit us online by going to CanadiansBaseball.com. Canadians have done a lot of things right. Bullpen is summoned for Spokane. We'll get to Joe Corbett's numbers in a moment, but let's take a look at the Vancouver Canadians, who, as you mentioned, Ricky, in this game, it had to be about the defense, and early on, it absolutely has been.
It's been tremendous. And also, credit to Pond right there. 2 pickoffs, one on a good quick step-off move, and the other one he read the guy taking off, and at the end of the day, first baseman did a good job of playing catch with the second baseman.
That was the big play right there. The double from Brett Wright that hugged that third base line, and all the way around came Trevor Schwecke. And that time it gave Vancouver a 1-0 lead. That remains to this conversation the only run of this game. Joe Corbett has come in, so Teodoro Ortega's night is done. You can see those shadows here at Scotiabank Field. Those will permeate throughout the infield over the next probably 20 minutes to half an hour. Sometimes the pitcher will be in the sun and the hitter will be in the shade. Sometimes the left side of the infield will be in the sun and the right side will be in the shade. Dominic Abadesa 0 for 1 in this baseball game. There's Abby in the shade, wearing Rick Mignante's old number 2 jersey. Pitch misses low, and the count goes to 1 ball and no strikes to Dominic. John Birdie also used to wear the number 2. Made his major league debut last year. Ball out to the third baseman. Kind of laissez-faire way that he caught it, and even throws it worse. Now the turn inward from Abadesa is going to get him in trouble, and he ends up getting tagged out. What a wonderful defensive play from Capers. And this is going to bring over the trainer to deal with Abadesa, and it will also bring over the manager, Casey Candell. Abadesa turned inward and then realized, ooh, I better get back to the bag. And it looks like in a collision with Capers that he got the worst of it. So here's Abadesa, ball out to the third baseman. Throw across the diamond from Inoa, gets away, but inward turn. Now Abadesa has to get back and look at the collision as Capers physically blocks the ability for Abadesa to get back to first.
That's a great job by Capers right there. That's a heads-up play on making sure he was there for the bad throw and making a good play.
So if you're scoring, it goes 5-3-2. If memory serves me correct, we'll get another look at it. But Abadesa's up. He'll get a nice round of applause from the crowd, the kid from Huntington Beach. And again, here comes Abadesa. Now, the mistake that he makes, he said he thinks there's a little more real estate there, and he was thinking about going to second, but as he comes back, here's the catcher of all people. It's going to be a 5-2 because I don't think that the first baseman, Krim, even touched it. And again, following up the play in foul territory was Capers, and that's a heck of a play from a catcher, a guy that you don't even think is a part of that equation defensively, all of a sudden making that play.
It's the little things that count, and he did a good job right there backing up.
You'll run that route 100 times and maybe never get that opportunity, but the one time you do and it pays off, it all makes sense. Eden is 1 for 2 with a stolen base in this game. Pitch inside, the count goes to 1-0.
You got to give credit to their starter too, Ortega.
Yes.
Great outing by him.
We'll get the line on both of the starters in a second. It's the right-hander, high leg kick, fastball, misses a little bit low, and now it's 2-0.
You can see why Spokane has been pretty successful, because they're doing the little small things, and pitching, playing defense, timely hitting, little hustle play by the catcher. All that stuff it's good stuff. And you can see why they've been successful to start off the year.
you think of short season baseball and kind of the entry point into the minor league system is, but the fundamentals of the game, once they get sharpened, aren't much different than what you see here.
Yeah.
The starter for the Vancouver Canadians, Ponce, tonight went 3 2/3, 1 hit. No runs, no walks. He struck out 2. And as you mentioned, with Spokane, Ortega not chopped liver either. 4 innings of 4-hit baseball, gave it up just the 1 run. It's a pitch in for a strike that brings the count to 3-2. Not a lot of fans behind home plate liking that call. Everybody here at the ballpark cramming it in. It's a sold-out night here at Scotiabank Field at Nat Bailey, and Cameron Eden, as he looks in at his bat now, fixates on Joe Corbett as here comes the payoff pitch inside. And Eden's got a little bit of speed, so it's a lazy one-out walk, and all of a sudden Eden saunters down the first base line, gets a fist bump from his coach, and it brings up Tanner Morris. This might be a good situation here with a pretty good contact hitter in Tanner Morris to maybe get Eden going, try the old hit and run if you can't continue to press Spokane's defense. Corbett, the right-hander. Ball down the first base line, but it's foul. Count goes to 0-1. Sure doesn't feel like the Canadians are 7 games behind Spokane in the standings, at least not right now.
A little different energy tonight, and I think that's due, like you said, to that team meeting. Maybe some things are said that they have to go out and do, and sometimes that's all it takes, a little spark like that.
Or a rain out.
But at the end of the day, you got to take it one game at a time. I know everyone wants to hit the panic button, but it's one game at a time, and do the things the right way, and when you do stuff like that, you'll start seeing the difference.
He is Ricky Romero. I am Rob Fay. Caroline Frolic has been hanging around the ballpark as well, bringing us the sights and sounds. Good interview with Casey Candell a little bit earlier as well. Casey, first-year manager of the Vancouver Canadians, 12th manager in short season history. 1-1. Called for a strike on the outer third. 1 ball and 2 strikes. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Fans are all settled into this one. We're absolutely thrilled that you're checking us out tonight on Sportsnet Pacific. Vancouver Canadians baseball. Tanner Morris is looking for his first hit of the baseball game, as the next pitch is a breaking pitch that gets him. And that, unfortunately for Morris, he's going to look back and maybe break that at-bat down pitch by pitch, and I think he's going to feel like he might have got shortchanged early in the sequence and then maybe pressed himself a little too hard.
Yeah, and that's what happens sometimes. But like I said, you can't let one pitch dictate your whole at-bat. If there's a bad call against you, hey, it's okay. I mean, as much as you don't want to see that, you still got to get to the next pitch and go out there and battle.
Would you have put a little hit and run on there at some point in the sequence just to try and keep pressing?
I'd like to see something like that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Get the game going. Get some excitement.
With a breaking pitch, Rodriguez wildly swings and misses.
There's nothing better than seeing excitement like that for me. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, hey, we gave it a try. You want to put runners in scoring position for this guy at the plate.
Absolutely. Wearing the white and red, number 13. Ball out towards the shortstop. Could be the inning. Hoover flips it to second, and it is. It's a 6-4 force out. Canadians relatively quiet. Cameron Eden got himself a walk, but not much more. It looks like Dominic Abadessa will go out defensively. We'll see if that is official on the other side of the break. But again, it's a very tidy inning. All of a sudden, when we come back, we're in the top of the 6th. 1-0. Canadians lead. Vancouver's looking to snap a 7-game losing streak. We'll see if they can do that. You're watching Vancouver Canadians baseball tonight right here on Sportsnet Pacific. Just wrapping up their dance. That is the A&B Tool Rentals dancing grounds crew here at Nat Bailey Stadium, and they get the largest pop of the whole night That young crew, not only do they make sure that the playing surface is in optimal condition, but they'll also bust a move as well. As young MC used to do back in the day, they just drop it. Let's go. And you know what? Some of them are more limber than others. But a lot of fun. And this is one of the many reasons that families come to the ballpark is in addition to the hits and the errors and the runs, you just get the total package. And it has been a lot of fun to watch these guys do their job. And they spend hours choreography. Don't think that that just comes naturally. There's a lot of work that gets involved. And look at this, the grand finale. Love it. I mean, what else do you want to do for a summer job?
That's exactly what you want to do right there.
No doubt. 6th inning is brought to you. You know what, Ricky? Accidents happen. It's just a fact. No matter what happens, the experts at CSN Collision Centers will get you back on the road fast. At CSN, we'll straighten it out. Scott Caper straightens one out. High drive into left field. That's going to chase Contreras just shy of the warning track. Comes down with the baseball. And the first out in the 6th. And boy, Canadians pitching tonight has been outstanding. Gabriel Ponce for 3 2/3. Randy Pondler, tough act to follow, but he's done just that, and he's been pretty nice.
Really, really nice. Again, he's feeding off what the starter was able to do. Came in, he's throwing strikes. It's exactly what you want.
The left-hander winds and works. Pitch in for a strike to Jake Hoover. Count goes to 0-1. Couple of people have tweeted us, Ricky, at Van Canadians. Ricky, our first one, here's my question for you. Your best minor league memory. We know what you did at the All-Star level. We know what you did at the Major League level. Minor leagues, what's your most enjoyable reflection when you look back?
It's a good question. I don't think I've ever been asked that, but probably I never got to pop champagne in the big leagues. But there was one year in Dunedin for the Dunedin Blue Jays in high A where we won the first half of the year and we got to pop champagne. And I thought that was pretty cool. And it's definitely a memory that really, really sticks out. I want to say hitting coach for the Vancouver Canadians, Aaron Matthews, was on that team. And, I wish I would have done it more, but that definitely sticks out. Off the field, I think it's more than anything, it's the relationships that you're able to build with these guys. Not just as professional baseball players, but as human beings. And I've been lucky enough and fortunate enough to have developed those kind of memories with a lot of those guys. Those guys become family because you spend a lot of time with them. You spend more time with them than you do with your family. So, the year is long from spring training to the season, and sometimes you go to instructional ball and you see them there again. So, yeah, I think off the field, it's the relationships I was able to build.
There's a lot of people that would say the same thing. 3-2 on its way. That is up. So it's a walk to Jake Hoover. It's a one-out walk, and you can't rest on your laurels in this game if you're the Vancouver Canadians. It is a 1-0 baseball game. You want to do a few more?
Yeah, let's do it.
We've got all kinds here. We've got the serious stuff. We've got the kind of crazy and quirky ones.
I like those.
All right. The crazy and quirky ones?
Whatever.
Fine. Clay Aiken or Ruben Studdard?
What?
This is what I'm saying. Going back to the early days of American Idol.
I never really was into American Idol. So I don't
At all?
know.
That's okay.
Ruben Studdard was pretty good, I think.
So you do remember Ruben Studdard?
Yeah, I do remember.
Ah, good for you. If Ricky was to make crusted halibut, would it be breadcrumbs or panko?
Ooh.
Hold on, this question actually engages you? You like that one?
Just interested. Thinking outside the box right here.
I guess so. Throw over to first base for Randy, who's picked off 2 guys already in this baseball game.
I think I like Pancro.
Dude, you can't even say it. How are you going to cook with it?
How do you say it?
Panko.
Panko. Yeah,
I think so.
Whatever.
What did you say, Pancro? There's a snap throw down to first base, and ooh, the ball comes off, as does the glove. That throw was right on the mark, and I got a sneaky suspicion if Yorman could have held on to the baseball, that tag would have been applied, and maybe, just maybe, a third runner picked off. Yorman dusting off the old mitt. Look at this play. So here's Yorman over at first base. Nice throw, and just no contact, threw off the mitt. 1-1. Inside, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Let's get to a little bit more serious one here, Rob. What do you got for me?
All right. Scroll through. There's a lot of them here. Favorite team other than the Toronto Blue Jays growing up? I think I know the answer to this one.
Who do you got?
I was going to go Angels. Am I right? Just
No.
geography? No?
No.
Favorite Major League Baseball team, not the Blue Jays. And I'm not even saying that it was the Blue Jays.
Los Angeles Dodgers.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I had a 50-50 shot, right?
You blew it.
Not the first time. 2-2, another throw over to check in on the base runner. And a 1-0 game. Canadians riding the lightning right now.
I grew up about 20 minutes away from Dodger Stadium, so I remember my dad used to take me to games a lot as a young kid. We used to sit out in the pavilion. And I grew up watching Eric Davis, Darryl Strawberry. Those were the guys that I liked watching growing up. Brett Butler in center field, guys like that. It was always fun. Mike Piazza behind the dish.
Dude, did I ever tell you my Mike Piazza story?
No.
All right, so ball foul. About the cologne?
Yeah,
I was so embarrassed. If you're watching, I'll take up 10 seconds of your time. I'm covering. Rich Harden used to pitch for the Vancouver Canadians, made it to the major leagues. He was on the team of the A's along with Mike Piazza at the end of Piazza's career. So I'm in covering the game, and I've got the microphone in the scrum, and all of a sudden Mike Piazza walks past me, and he smells so good. And I don't usually care, but pitch it slow. 3-2, just for those who actually are paying attention to the game. So I said to Rich, who's my friend, I'm like, Rich, can you do me a favor? He's like, yeah. I'm like, can you ask what cologne Piazza's wearing? So I thought maybe later he'd just circle back and like, hey, man, my buddy wants that. Right in the middle of the scrum, hey, my friend thinks he smells sexy in front of everybody. I was mortified. High drive at the left, but it's going to go foul. And then years later, I asked Roberto Alomar, who also wears a nice scented cologne. I said, Robbie, what's your cologne? Can't tell you, man. I'm like, man.
That's the smoothness right there of Robbie Alomar, man.
He doesn't miss much.
Has so much swag. Just the way he walks, the way he carries himself. He's such a great human being.
Does a lot for the community as well.
Yes, he does.
3-2 on its way. Ball out to the third baseman, Brito. They're going to try for 2. Go to second for 1. Relay to first. Is it in time? No. Canadians executed as well as they could. Just good old-fashioned speed prevents the inning coming to an end as Kellen Strom was hustling up the first base line. So the inning will continue, but there are 2 outs here. Yorman Rodriguez will be close to first to hold on. And you know what? Spokane might try to get something moving here with a couple of outs here. And Strom's got a lot of speed. His mother and father, both All-American athletes. And his brother is like an Olympic wrestler. Like, the family is just gifted.
Wow. Good for him.
There's 1 chicken thigh left on the table, and those 4 at the dinner table. Throw over to first base. Competitive nature. Canadians almost turn the inning-ending double play here. The 6th slider gets away from right. Quick to the baseball, no runner advancing. So this is where Randy Pondler, now all of a sudden you start to look at the tread on the tire. It is simply 2 innings in the book so far. He's allowed just 1 hit. He hasn't walked anybody. He hasn't given up a run. He has been pretty doggone good in this game. But now you start to look at the pitch count and you just wonder what he's got. Ball that is hit into left. This should be the inning, but it's going to chase Contreras back a little bit. Sets up under it, comes down with it, and all is well. Never second guess Randy Pondler. It is another good inning. You got that special affection for the left-handers.
I like it. I like what I'm watching so far.
So far, so good. All right, so it is the Vancouver Canadians up 1-0. Let us go back down to field level. Here is Caroline Frolic with Alex.
Joining me now is Canadians pitcher Alex Nolan. So he's the lone Canadian on the Canadians.
Yeah.
No pressure.
No, no pressure. More like opportunity to play for a great crowd and a great province.
Well, you're an Ontario boy.
Yeah.
Had you been to Vancouver prior to coming to the Seas?
I came to Vancouver when I was a little bit younger, probably when I was around 9 or 10. Toured the area, but never been here as an adult or a kid or so. So it's a great place to be, and I'm loving it so far.
All right, so Ontario boy, you went to Brock University. Shout out to the OUA, by the way. Go Badgers. But Brock University, St. Catharines, beautiful, not known as a hotbed for baseball players. What made you decide to go there?
That's why I love it. I mean, the conversations I had with my coaching staff and the players there was, why not be a guy from St. Catharines? Why not be a guy from Brock? I mean, you got all these guys from the States, and due respect, like, they're amazing ball players, they're amazing athletes, but why not be that guy to make it out and kind of create that path for someone else? So that was the goal I wanted.
He is from Brock, as in Brock Badgers. And the one thing that when he got here, everybody said, great personality. He's just got a tremendous makeup. His head coach at Brock said the same thing. And as we bring you back down to field level here at Scotiabank Field at Nat Bailey Stadium, getting down to the brass tacks of the game, you need a player like that, a guy that is well-spoken, that communicates, and he's going to get a lot of the media, Ricky, because he's got that Canadian passport, but every once in a while you just bump into a guy, and this is going to sound kind of patriotic, a little pushy, but you can almost smell a Canadian coming a mile away. They've just got this different demeanor and aura about them, and he fits in perfectly with this Canadians roster.
I actually got a chance to talk to him before the game, and exactly what you said is what he is. Just really well-spoken. Asked me a lot of questions, which I like that from a young guy, and whatever I can do to help him, I told him I'm here, and just really well spoken, really smart, and you can tell he wants to learn and he wants to get better. Obviously, being undrafted, he has a little chip on his shoulder, but I also told him, hey, sometimes less is more. You don't have to go out there and kill yourself with workouts and this and that. Learn a routine, have a routine. And next thing you know, you find yourself being successful at different levels.
Will Robertson in the box. 1 ball and no strikes. Robertson, speaking of chips on shoulders, might have one himself. Sam Hellinger is coming to the baseball game, and he throws real hard, 93 to 95. And, well, how about that? It ends up hitting Will Robertson. That will sting. But I think in a 1-0 game, Robertson's just going to put his head down, and you can tell he's grimacing as he makes his way down the first base line. That one obviously caught him in on the arm, and now that he gets to first, he punches over, and the question is, will the trainer come out and have a word? And I think they'll just let him grimace over there at first base. I mean, unfortunately, it's just going to sting and hurt, but he'll stay in the game, but it brings up Trevor Schwecke.
Vancouver Canadians need base runners, so whatever it takes. It's not me getting hit, so it's easy for me to say that.
Oh, jeez. Pitches up in the zone, and count goes to one. You know what? That's a typical pitcher's response. Canadians have played fantastic tonight. They have been as good as advertised, and even when you play your best, sometimes it's not enough, but they have put themselves in a position to win this game. Ball out to the works, the shortstop fielded cleanly. To second for one, the relay down to first is in time. A rare double play ball off the bat of Schwecke, who has been so good this season, but Trevor just gets a pitch actually that can handle and just hit it right out towards the shortstop. So as Robertson comes off the field, we'll see if he's met by the trainer. Casey Candell obviously wants to take a look at him as well, but yeah, that's just a wonderful, smooth double play. Nice stretch by the first baseman, Krim, to finish it off, and now there's 2 outs and nothing Bruin. McGregory Contreras. A couple of years ago, he was on Baseball America's top 30 list for the Toronto Blue Jay prospects. He has since fallen off said list. I'll tell you this, I read that publication, and again, it's a great publication, but sometimes I'll look at the 30 that are on that roster, and I think to myself, there's a couple of guys that should be on there, and there's a couple of guys that are on there that maybe shouldn't be. Pitch in for strike, and the count goes to 0-2. I wonder if players really pay attention to that stuff. Do they?
No, not really. When I struggled in the minor leagues, I don't even think I was a top 3, top 4 prospect for them. And, you take it for what it's worth. It's not going to dictate whether you get to the big leagues or not, right? So those lists are made up by who knows? You don't even know who makes those lists.
Yeah.
Honestly.
1-2. He's a pitch foul back. Contreras with that big long swing gets a piece of it at 95 miles an hour. Hellinger really amping it up. Tell you what, if Contreras can square one of those up, the Canadians might double their lead here.
I watched his BP earlier today too. My goodness, a lot of talent too.
1-2 is a curveball that's fisted off. 79-mile-an-hour pitch. Still 1-2. It's a pretty good seat right behind home plate. Contreras in the old number 29.
He knows he missed that last pitch too. That's a hanging breaking ball right there. He knows he missed it.
1-2 at the knees. Call for a strike. Contreras knew it. Simply turns around. 94 at the knees. That's tough for most. And the Canadians come away empty-handed in the bottom of the 6th inning. We all of a sudden jettison forward to the top of the 7th. Spokane still trails the Canadians by 1. They're going to send up the big bats when we come back. Vancouver Canadians try to snap a 7-game losing streak. Let's see if they can do it. Keep it locked right here. You're watching A&W Vancouver Canadians baseball tonight. And you're doing it right here on Sportsnet Pacific. Well, there he is, one of the most recognizable figures in the city, Bob Brown Bear, named after the legendary Bob Brown, who helped bring baseball to Vancouver professionally. And even though he passed away a number of years ago, fans still revere him as Mr. Baseball in this community. And Bob makes over, how about this, 200 community appearances a year. That bear is as busy as anybody in this city. Join us at the Nat on Monday, July the 8th for our second of 4 Superstar Series appearances, of course brought to you by Fortis BC. Up this season, up next, it's Blue Jay Vernon Wells. Stop by and meet Vernon in person. Gates open at 6. And the first pitch is at 7:05. And the first bunch of fans through will get themselves a good old-fashioned baseball card that might even get Vernon Wells to sign it for you. Blake Krim, Luis Asuncion, and Ryan Anderson. That is 3, 4, 5 in the order.
Got to ask Vernon about his winery. Maybe he can send us some nice little wine.
I would like that.
Yeah.
Fastball in for a strike. Randy Pondler still towing the rubber. Nobody warming up in the bullpen for the Canadians. 0-1. Breaking pitch in it. It's very quickly 0-2. You know, I know baseball players and athletes do a ton of stuff after their career. For instance, as you said, wine for Vernon Wells. Lee Smith had the craziest one that I had heard. Change up, swing and a miss. 3 different pitches, all nasty. Blake Krim goes down on strikes, and that produces the first out here at the top of the 7th. I was a PR guy for the World Baseball Classic, and my designated team was South Africa. And so the pitching coach for the South African baseball unit just happened to be the legendary closer, Lee Smith. So I said, Lee, what do you do in your spare time? And he grows alfalfa back in Louisiana. One of the nastiest, meanest closers in all of baseball history. Just chills out and grows alfalfa.
I actually got a chance to meet him when I spent 2 years in the Giants organization. And what a great dude.
Oh, yeah. Ball hammer to center. He's going to send Adrian Ramos back. Now, Ramos is a defensive substitution. He came in for Dominic Abadesa. If you remember about an inning ago, Abadesa got into a collision at first base. Casey Candell and the training staff deciding that Ramos would be better suited to finish this game. So that is the second out off the bat of Luis Asuncion, who, by the way, is now 0 for 3 in this game. So the Canadians are winning on almost all fronts here so far tonight. But don't sleep on Ryan Anderson in the box. Smith told me a story about how his trainer used to have to put his baseball hat in a different box from all the other players because he had so much activator from his hair in his hat that it would grease up anything that was even close to it. So they put it in a Ziploc in a different bag.
Those relievers are tricky, man. They got some things under their sleeve.
And he had some curl, though. He had some, him and Juan Samuel and young George Bell, 2-0. Pretty good pitch, not called for a strike, and the count goes to 3 balls and no strikes. Pondler winds and works. Fastball in for a strike, count goes to 3-1. Another one at Van Canadians for Ricky Romero. Your favorite baseball card? Now, I'm not sure if that's like your favorite card of all time or the favorite one that somebody made of you. What's your, just overall, your favorite baseball card ever? Pitch misses, ball 4.
That's a good question, too.
Let me throw you a curveball here. What is your favorite piece of baseball memorabilia that you've received from another player?
I have a few. I have a few in my man cave, but one that sticks out was Ken Griffey Jr. autographed jersey. And that's just because everyone, when I was growing up, everyone during that generation, the kid was the guy.
Ball laced into right. This is going to be trouble. It's going to be a long run. Robertson can't get to it. The question is, will they score that runner from first? Thought about it, and now all of a sudden the brakes are put on as the relay to the plate is a nice one at that. Robertson in right field doesn't look like he's playing at 100%. The ball came off the bat, but you can just tell that Robertson, who got hit by a pitch an inning ago, again, I'm not a doctor, but you can just tell that he is slow to the baseball. So Randy Pondler, after a very smooth 3 innings of work, all of a sudden casually walks a runner in Ryan Anderson, and now all of a sudden Anderson is over at third base on a double from Kennedy Rosario. The question is, will they score that?
That's exactly what you want to avoid, though, with 2 outs right there. You get 2 quick outs, and then you walk that next hitter, and next thing you know, you find yourself in trouble. So it's important to continue to throw strikes.
High drive into right. Question is, will it stay in the ballpark? It will. Matt Bailey, that's where balls go to die. Can't tell you how many players have told me this is a tough ballpark, especially in the right field. Will Robertson's going to come off the field. All right, maybe he's a little better than I thought. Nonetheless, Canadians will strand 2 of those Spokane Indians, and we will stretch it out. And we hope you do as well. The Vancouver Canadians are going to go to the bottom of the 7th, sending up the bottom of their order, hoping to hold on, maybe even build on a 1-0 lead. Slenderest of leads for the Canadians. I'm not even sure if that's a word. See if the Canadians can win this one here tonight. You're watching Sportsnet Pacific. Those mountains are called the Lions. Fun fact, that's actually why they named our CFL team here on the West Coast the BC Lions. Everybody thinks it's after the mountainous cat, but it's those 2 twin killings out there in the mountainous range. And now all of a sudden you bring yourself back to the ballpark that is nearly 70 years old. Historic landmark. Scotiabank Field at Nat Bailey Stadium. I'm Rob Fay alongside Ricky Romero and Caroline Frolick. What a thrill to have you be a part of our night here, and we've got a good one for you. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Canadians lead just 1-0. Look at the fans. They're loving this on a Saturday night. Section 10 is right near the top of your screen right now. That's that one section of the ballpark that's got all the crazies. They have a grand old time there. Here's Brett Wright. Fastball at the knees, call for a strike at 92, and the count goes to 0-1. Second inning to work for Sam Hellinger. Came in and just absolutely shoved against the Canadians in his first frame.
Going back to that last inning, Rob, I like what I saw out of Pondler right there. Second and third, gets him a little bit of trouble. Gets a fly out to right field. Didn't panic. Stayed within his himself and made a good pitch. And that's exactly what you want to see.
You want to do a few more tweeted questions your way?
Yeah, shoot 'em.
So you've obviously hit a nerve with those listening back east about your thoughts on Kawhi maybe joining the Lakers. So the question to you, Ricky Romero, at Van Canadians, why don't you think he would want to stay in Toronto?
You know what? As much as I would like to see him in a Laker uniform, to me it's like, yeah, why wouldn't you want to stay there? He's already a god there. You know, he's going to be remembered as a legend for the rest of his career. But I just feel like, why would he? Like, you have a whole country rooting for you. Not just one little city, but a whole country. So at the end of the day, it wouldn't shock me if he ended up staying there. And more power to him. I mean, that would obviously be a good move by him. I mean, the whole country has embraced him as this guy that brought a championship back to Toronto, which he did. You know, he's just dynamic, man, in every way possible.
And you know that Toronto's already got a sixth god, right? He'll need a different moniker.
No, I think he took over that job.
From Drake?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, how about that? All right. By the way, while we're waxing poetically.
Has Drake ever brought a championship?
The way he celebrated, you would think that he did. 1-1 is lashed to the left. That's a base hit. Ronnie Brito, get you some. Big turnaround first baseman for Ronnie. That's got to feel oh so good. As Ronnie's had a real tough time at the plate as of late, but he grabs himself a one-out single, and now let's see if Adrian Ramos, making his first plate appearance of this baseball game, can get something going. Again, if you remember correctly, Dominic Abadesa back in the 5th inning got into a collision at first base with the catcher of all players. And it almost looked like he jammed his shoulder, so Ramos has come in. First as a defensive replacement, and now getting his swings. Fastball hit foul, and the count goes to 0-1.
I like that. Coming off the bench, aggressive, has a little plan. I like that.
Infielders a double play depth. Pitch from the righty on its way. This is outside, 1-1. So Drake is the ambassador to Toronto. So us here in Vancouver would wonder who would be the ambassador should we have had an NBA team come through here a second time. Who would it have been? Drake is to Toronto as blank is to Vancouver.
Rob Fay.
That ain't good, man. That ain't good.
Big Country Reeves. How about that?
Hey, they found him, by the way. He was gone for about a decade. Tracked him down in Gans, Oklahoma. 2 balls and 1 strike. I miss the NBA. It really reconnected with me when the Raptors made their run to a championship. But you forget how enjoyable having an NBA team in your city is.
Yeah, no, it was pretty special. And a city like Toronto definitely deserved it. And it was definitely fun to watch them celebrate on TV.
Kind of reminded me back in 92 and 93 as well. Those streets were jammed for the Blue Jays. 2-2. Pretty good breaking pitch missed outside. By the way, I do have to shout out one person tonight. Don Davis and his children made an 8-day trip to every Northwest League ballpark. They did all 8 in 8 days. They finish up here tonight at Scotiabank Field and Nat Bailey Stadium. Over 4,000 kilometers this week.
Wow.
Pitch misses. So Adrian Ramos will saunter down the first base line. And very quietly, the Canadians now have a runner at first and second. And back to the top of the order we go for Cameron Eden.
That's a great AB by Ramos to come off the bench. Hasn't seen the pitch and comes up, puts up a great AB and finds himself at first base. Now Canadians are threatening here with man on first and second.
This would be a nice opportunity for the Canadians to re-engage this fan base. It has been a real nice game, very tightly contested, but just the 1 run in the bottom of the 4th. It feels like a shaking can of pop here at the ballpark. They're waiting for that one last thing to go right where they can explode, get ready to go. I'll tell you this, Ricky, the 8th and the 9th innings, this is an awesome place to watch a game when it's tightly contested. Sam Hellinger throws real hard, but right now he's got a couple of runners that he's got to deal with. Nice breaking pitch at 77 in first strike, and the count to 0-1.
And I don't think they have to change anything here with men on first and second. You still continue to have your own game plan, which is what their manager and their hitting coach want them to do, and that's attack the fastball and stay on top of that fastball. And if they're able to do that, they're going to capitalize here.
Eden 1 for 2 in this game. Low and away, 1 ball and 1 strike. Sun is now really starting to set out towards the West Coast, out towards Vancouver Island and parts unknown, where many a wrestler came from. See if the Canadians, as the lights take over primary source of responsibility for the illumination of this ballpark, if maybe they can score a couple of runs here and give himself a little breathing room in this one. The right-hander takes a deep breath. High leg kick, and here it comes. Fastball at the knees, in for a strike, 1-2.
Really like what I've seen about this game, though. It's offered a little bit of everything, and what I mean by that, it's just the little things that have happened. Pickoffs, catcher backing up, first base, getting an out on that, and it's been a pitcher's duel out there, and hopefully the Vancouver Canadians right here are able to break through.
With 1 out, infielders a double play depth. Here comes the 1-2. Called for a strike right at the knees. Eden not a huge fan of the call. Neither are the fans behind home plate, who knew that was a pretty good pitch. And that will produce the 2nd out of the inning. Both of the strikeouts in this frame, both Brett Wright and Cameron Eden, Both caught looking, and that is a pretty good pitch.
Yeah, I want that.
Here's another one for you. Who was your favorite catcher that you pitched to, and why?
Is JP listening to this?
I think it was from JP.
You know what? I was very, very, very fortunate to have been able to have some great catchers throughout my career, from John Buck to Jose Molina. You know, that band of brothers has just been tremendous at the major league level, and they're all World Series champs, have had successful careers. Yadi's still in it. And JP, I mean, the relationship the relationship I have with him is just second to none. He's like a little brother to me, and like I said, I was fortunate enough to have had some great catchers along the way. Rookie year, it was Rod Barajas, but when I look back at it, every time I look at that lineup, part of my debut, it was probably a name you haven't heard in a while, but it wasn't Rod Barajas who caught my debut. It was Michael Barrett.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Pitch foul back.
And
Michael
I remember,
Barrett.
yeah, I remember when I made the team and he was on that team. I was like, hey man, I used to watch you.
That's right.
A few times when I went to Petco Park in San Diego because he was playing for the Padres, and now he was catching my big league debut. It was pretty cool.
He played for a couple of teams, including 6 years with the Expos.
Yeah.
I'm sure you made him feel real young. 0-2. Ball hit down the third base line, and that's what the doctor orders. Here comes Brito around third. He'll score. Into third is Ramos, and into second base sliding head first is Tanner Morris. And oh man, how good does that feel for the Vancouver Canadians? Morris stays with it and drives it, has enough on that it stays fair, and it goes into the left field corner, and just like that, the Canadians have doubled their lead. They're up 2-0.
That's a great piece of hitting by Morris right there. Again, we talk about hit it where it's pitched. There's a ball down and away, as you see right there. Boom, took it the other way, down the line. It's exactly what you want to see. You want your hitters to remain aggressive, even though they've been struggling. You want them to remain aggressive and attack pitches up in the zone.
Morris was taken in this year's draft in the 5th round out of the University of Virginia. Has now a visit to the mound. Look at that. That is the sign of a baseball player right there. The old pants are dirty, the jersey's dirty, and the fans are loving life. It's a quick visit to the mound here. All the meeting of the minds between the catcher, the pitcher, and this fan base, as mentioned, will just get louder and louder and louder. It is an unbelievable place to watch a baseball game right now. The Canadians trying to snap a 7-game losing streak. They haven't won in a calendar week, and here on a sold-out Saturday night, they have put themselves in a position to maybe do just that. Hopefully it'll lead to more, but let's see if the Canadians can score more here in the bottom of the 7th. It is 2-0 Vancouver, and here comes one of the top hitters in the Northwest League. It is Yorman Rodriguez. Hellinger's gone 1 2/3. That was just the second hit off of his right arm. The pitch, fastball right down Broadway, and the count goes to 0-1.
We've been talking about Rodriguez hitting with runners in scoring position. This is his chance right here to cash a couple in.
Be nice. Be nice to crack one open for a while. 0-1. Ball hit into right, and boy, he stayed with it. 1 run scores. Here comes run number 2. He'll score 2. Rodriguez is going to slide into second safely, and it is 4-0 Vancouver.
That's tremendous right there, Rob. Tremendous piece of hitting right there. Just exactly what you want to see, a hanging breaking ball. And he takes it the other way. Doesn't try to do too much with it. Boom.
That's a really good, you know, you don't give enough credit to balance when it comes to hitters, and you're always talking about quick hands and stuff like that, but sometimes weight transfer and balance is a big part of being able to hit the ball to the opposite field, and he stays with it and then slides safely into second. Nice all-around play.
Not only that, not only a good piece of hitting, but he's hustling out of the box, and he gets two, and he puts himself in scoring position for Robertson right here. And again, the pressure's on the pitcher right here.
Vancouver with their biggest lead in 11 games. Fastball in for a strike of the count. Very quickly 0-2 here on Will Robertson. I'm telling you, Ricky, things go well tonight. You might have to call the missus and say that you'll be back in about 60 more days.
That's
from
fine.
Here. 0-2. Pitch foul back.
She'll be more than happy to come out to Vancouver more often.
By the way, I will say this. Your wife, Cara, did a wonderful job on the television herself.
Thank you.
And she did great coverage for the Women's World Cup.
Man, I wish they would have
yeah, you're not alone.
hung out for another round. We were definitely rooting for them at home.
No balls and 2 strikes. Big run out of second base for the Canadians as far as insurance goes.
Look at that.
Stealing third. You bet he does. And he overran the bag, and Yorman Rodriguez, unfortunately, had the right idea, just had a little too much momentum, and all of a sudden the fingers come off, and what do you do?
I don't know if I like that. You're in scoring position already, right? So I don't know if I like that move much, but hey, it's an aggressive play.
Take the good with the bad.
Exactly.
All right, we'll take a break here. Canadians do plate not 1, not 2, but 3. And all of a sudden, we're going to find ourselves to the top of the 8th. It's the Canadians 4, Spokane nothing, as you're watching A&W Canadians baseball, and you're doing it right here on the home of Canadians baseball, Sportsnet Pacific. $6,400 fans in unison singing Queen here at the ballpark. They're all sticking around as well right through the final pitch. They do fireworks very well here at the ballpark. Post-game celebration. Every final game, they bring out this cannon, this like military cannon that they put at home plate, and it shakes the entire neighborhood. But fans come out here in big numbers. 250,000 fans came out to little Scotiabank Field at Nat Bailey Stadium, and all of a sudden everybody realized, oh, not so little. And it is a lot of fun. Kids dressed in their baseball uniforms.
I feel like you don't find very many short season teams.
Oh gosh, no.
With the fan base like this. They're into the game. They're into the races and Queen, singing Queen out loud.
Well, you know, and people will say, well, you're in Vancouver. It's a city of 2.5 million. You should sell out every game. But it is the type of fan that comes out to the ballpark. It is a unique breed. It really is. First pitch to Scott Capers misses. Still toeing the rubber is Randy Pondler. He's already gone 3 1/3. Pitch in for strike, balancing it at 1-1. And there's nobody warming up in the bullpen.
And again, it's easy stuff. Just basic. Just continue to attack the zone. And doesn't look like Spokane has made the adjustment, so just continue to pound that strike zone down and away, and show that changeup, that breaking ball, and it looks like they're just completely off balance tonight.
Well, you can tip your cap to 2 guys so far, Gabriel Ponce and Randy Pondler. Together have looked pretty spiffy, haven't they? Little dribbler up the first baseline. Yorman stays with it, touches the bag, and that is the first out here. Near the top of the 8th inning, all of a sudden you look up at the old manually operated scoreboard out there in left center, and the Canadians are 5 outs away from their first victory in a week.
I love seeing a great changeup too.
Yes,
especially when
it is. It's so underrated.
When hitters cap it off the end like that, I love that. I love that. There's no better feeling than that. You're able to locate your fastball and then get them out in front with that changeup. It's a good sign. Looks like Palmer has it going.
Yeah, he's been pretty good tonight. He had a rocky outing in his last effort, so this is a nice bounce back as the pitch misses 1-1. And again, if you're watching this abroad, you are looking at the future of the Toronto Blue Jays. Maybe a couple of prospects make their way towards the bright lights of Rogers Center one day. But more than anything, it's just an opportunity to get a taste of what's in the system as the fastball at 89 is in on the inner black, and now the count goes to 1-2. Jake Hoover at the bottom of the order in this baseball game, 0 for 1. Walked back in the 6th inning and grounded out to the shortstop of the 3rd. Swing and a miss.
Ball in the dirt, so Brett Wright will step forward to home plate, throw a strike down to Yormont at first, and now there are 2 outs.
It's a nasty changeup.
It is.
It just disappears. Just disappears. It looks like a strike, and then boom, just drops.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you want out of a changeup. And the key to that is just arm speed. Make it look like your fastball. And I think the hitters are having a tough time.
High drive into center field. This is going to chase Ramos back towards the warning track. Right with his back up against the navy blue wooden wall. Ramos comes down with a baseball, and he hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark. But unfortunately for Kellen Strom, that is where Ramos was situated. It's a 3-up, 3-down inning. I would assume Pondler will get the 9th. But before we get to Randy and whether or not he'll be here, Ricky, no break here. So I wanted to ask you really quickly, when you were breaking in your first year, this is what we're essentially watching here tonight on Sportsnet Pacific, is Adrian Ramos and the fan base are all having a good time here. But your very first year, did you put a lot of pressure on yourself? Did you say, you know what, I got to give me the, obviously they just drafted me in the first round this year. I'm just going to, pitch a couple innings and call it a day, and then it's spring training to lamp it up? Or did you, when you first hit the ground running, immediately feel the pressure to perform?
Yeah, I think early on I put a little bit of pressure to perform. And it wasn't just the first year or the second year. It was the third, fourth year. And struggling through the minor league system, especially in Double-A, was a little tough for me. And I started seeing guys that were drafted the same class as me in the big leagues and being successful. So that put a little bit of more pressure on me. But when I took a step back and said, okay, it's not my time yet. This is not my time yet. My time is going to come. I just got to put in a little bit of extra work. I got to do a little bit more to work on my stuff. And when I was able to realize that, I think it's when my career kind of took off. And but yeah, I think early on I did put a little bit of pressure on myself to go out there and perform, because I was such a high pick and I wanted to prove that I could pitch in the big leagues. But when in the grand scheme of things, it takes time. Certain guys get there quicker than others, and like I said, it just wasn't my time.
We're going to take a look at a highlight package here in a second, just see how the Canadians have fared. But all of a sudden, we find ourselves to the bottom of the 8th inning. I always wondered, from your perspective, what was harder when you walked into the clubhouse as a new guy? By the way, this is how this unfolded in the 7th inning. A couple of runs scored for the Canadians, and it felt so good because all of a sudden, look at this nice piece of hitting from Yormont. That might be the best hit I've seen in this baseball game, and it played it 2, and at that point it made it 4-0 for the Canadians. Rob Fay, Caroline Frolic, and Ricky Romero here at the ballpark. High drive into right field. Unfortunately, got it in on the hands a little bit, and that's going to set up right underneath Luis Asuncion, and now you got yourself 1 out. Ricky, question I'm trying to spit out and get to you is the pressure, I guess in a nutshell, as the first rounder, the big money guy walks into the clubhouse with a lot of guys who are maybe non-drafted free agents or signed for, basically the plane ticket to get to minor league camp, what have you. What was the social pressure on you? Not just the baseball pressure, but just being the guy that should, quote, pay for everything. Pitch foul down the first base line. It'll go into the seats.
You know what? Honestly, Rob, my mom and dad taught me to be humble and work ethic. And I think that's one thing that always stuck with me. It never really hit me that I got that much money. Until this day, it's never really... It's not something that I sit there and I'm like, oh, like, I got to be treated differently. It was just one of those things where I always remained that humbled, and I had guys actually ask me, like, you don't even act like you have a lot of money. If I was walking around with the pockets like that, I'd be acting like this and that and this and that, but that just was never me. I love playing baseball. I love toying the rubber, and that's just what I wanted to do.
Don't forget our next A&W Family Fun Sunday coming up July the 7th. 1-2 pitches fouled back into the mesh. I'll tell you what, you handle yourself like a guy that you never would know that you were a major leaguer and an all-star. You just, everybody that I had talked about before I met you said Ricky's like the guy next door, and once you meet him, you'll feel like you knew him for 10 years. It's a good compliment to be paid.
Well, thank you.
1-2 at the knees, call for a strike, and Schwecke turns around and makes his way back towards the third base dugout. 2 outs, not much brewing for the Canadians here at the bottom of the 8th as Sam Hellinger has ironed out the wrinkles here at the bottom of the 8th. Gregory Contreras steps in with 2 outs and nothing brewing. Swing and a miss. Canadians scored 1 at the bottom of the 4th, 3 in the 7th. Pitch low and away, and the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. You're on the early bird special tomorrow morning, going right back down to Los Angeles again.
Back to the Fan Bam.
Yes, sir. Swing and a miss. 1 and 2.
2 little boys.
Pitch fouled back.
I know Spokane had a little bit of a hiccup in that bottom of the 7th, give up 3 runs. But overall, both teams have done a tremendous job out on the mound.
Yes,
they've
absolutely.
They've kept a good pace, a good rhythm, and that's definitely what you want to see.
Here's the 1-2 to McGregory Contreras. It is low and away, and now the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hardly a breeze here at the ballpark. It is just a perfect night for baseball. Trace of clouds out towards the mountainous region well behind us, but right above us, it's almost like Mother Nature said, nah, get this one in tonight. It's been very cloudy and ominous over the last 2-3 days leading into this Saturday night. 2-2 up and away, so now the count goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes to McGregory Contreras.
And I know I keep talking about rhythm, but that's what I learned in the big leagues when I got there. Just having good rhythm, and watching Doc Halladay was one of the biggest things. You know, he always had great rhythm, and his games were quick. He was not much thinking. He did all his thinking, I feel like, in the clubhouse, studying, knowing what he wanted to do, coming up with a game plan. And that's one of the things that I tried mimicking when I would watch him, how he would go about his business behind closed doors. When he got out there, you could just tell he knew what he wanted to do. And obviously, I wasn't Roy Halladay.
3-2. Got him right at the knees. Contreras doesn't like it. 94 right at the knees. And the Canadians empty-handed in the bottom of the 8th. But the story is what comes back as we come back from the break in a moment. Will it be Randy Pondler? Will the Canadians pick up their first win in more than a week? Lots of storylines when we come back. Ricky Romero, Rob Fay, Caroline Frolic. 4-0 Canadians. Top of the 9th is next, right here on Sportsnet Pacific. It's got to be one of the oldest buildings in Canada as you look into the press box here at Scotiabank Field at Nat Bailey. Look at Ricky. He's on his phone all the time over here. That's our radio home for everything Vancouver Canadians. Sportsnet 650. That's right. He's looking at all his tweets tonight. He's a pretty popular guy in Vancouver. And you should see the fans when they see Ricky coming to the ballpark. They all whisper, is that Ricky Romero? It's good. It's been so good to have you join us here for these broadcasts. And I was smitten when they told me that you were coming up here. I thought that was going to be a lot of fun, and it has been.
It has been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. I know we have 4 more to go.
We do. July 20th is our next one. You get a gentle reprieve until the next one. Randy Pondler out to wrap this one up. Hopefully, knock on wood. Here's Tanner Gardner, 2, 3, 4 in the order. So Canadians do have to go through the prickly bushes if they want to win this one. First pitch misses. There is no bullpen activity whatsoever for the Vancouver Canadians. Pondler's going to try to get this one to the finish line here. Ball chopped to the first baseman on 2 hops. Rodriguez will wave Pondler off. Touch the bag at first, and now the Canadians are 2 outs away. We don't usually check the out-of-town scoreboard too often, but Tri-City has a no-hitter against Everett in the bottom of the 8th tonight. Jordy Cunningham, our guy, Johnny on the spot, always looking at the out-of-town scoreboard, making sure that we're completely up to date with what's going on.
Jordy's the man.
Jordy is the man. And now his car's working, so it's all good.
It's all good.
Fastball to Blaine Krim in for strike.
He didn't want to pick me up in it today, though. Took the team van. I was hoping he'd take his car.
High fly ball into right center field. Ranging over is Ramos. I don't know if he's got it. There it is. He sees where it is. Stays with it. It's a tough time of night. Dusk, some would call it. And the outfielders for the Canadians battle the lights and the setting sky and a whole bunch of things. But sticking with it is Ramos. And now the Canadians are 1 out away.
I like what I've seen out of Ramos today. Like I said, off the bench, cold, comes up, gives you a great AB, runs a ball down in center field earlier in the game, and I like that. I like a guy who stays ready, and he looked like he was ready when the bell rang.
He did. So
He
here's
answered the
Luis Asuncion, the last hope, the last gasp. Got to remember, Spokane's at the top of the division right now. They're trying to fend off a couple of teams. Pitch of the knees, not called for a strike. Base umpire summoned. Willie Traynor said that Asuncion did not go, so it is 2 balls and no strikes. Canadians will finally get to exhale if they can get this 27th out. A ball fouled back, and now it's 2-1.
Can't say enough about the job Palmer's done tonight. Just tremendous work.
5 innings so far. Pitch inside, and now the count goes to 3-1.
And if I had to critique one thing, it's him getting 2 quick outs and then falling behind a few hitters after he gets 2 quick outs. And it's just not trying to do too much. Like I think right now he's feeling it. He knows he's 1 out away from getting his team a W. So it's just, like I said, slowing it back down and not thinking so big about the situation. Just continue to pitch your game.
Well, again, the last time we heard from Randy Pondler a couple of nights back, and he really scuffled. It just wasn't his night. And now the pitching coach, Dmitry Kokoris, is going to come out and have a couple of words with him, maybe just to calm him down and realize that he's right where he needs to be. But Pondler's a really proud guy, a little bit older. He's got a family back home, and he came in after Gabriel Ponce and ran into a lot of trouble when he was in Hillsborough taking on the Hops. And when the dust had settled on his outing, he ended up taking the loss, giving up 4 runs to Hillsborough in a 4-1 loss. So to see him bounce back with 5 innings tonight of 2-hit baseball, the only blemish, if you really wanted to be a stickler, is he has walked 4 in this baseball game. But you take the good with the bad, and Ricky, I'll tell you what, I mean, this has been as close to a complete game as we've seen from the Canadians in a game that really is right there for the taking.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, it's the 4 walks is the only blemish. And obviously you want to cut that down, but he's been able to work himself out of some trouble.
Drilled into left field. This is going to be a tough play for Contreras. He can't get to it. It bounces off to Provincestein. Nice strong throw back into the infield, and this is how the game's going to end. Contreras throws it to second base, and I don't think there were a lot of people looking. Ryan Anderson sure didn't think that ball was coming his way, but a wonderful defensive play. Almost fitting that it's the defense that gets involved to wrap this one up, in Vancouver wraps up a very nicely played 4-0 victory here over the Spokane Indians, and the losing streak is over at 7.
It's over.
And you're 2-0 in Vancouver, by the way. We're a minute or 2 away from getting Casey Candell. We'll catch up with the Canadians manager, Caroline Frolic, down at field level, but this has got to feel good. They had their team meeting early this morning, came in early, did all the things that, you know, a team that's really fighting the game does, and then they get their just reward. It almost makes it all worth it, the long day at the park.
Absolutely, and you build off of this. You look at this game and you're like, what did we do good? We pitched, we played defense, and we took good at-bats, and that's what they did. And hopefully they're able to build on this and get on a nice little winning streak here.
And again, whether they are able to track down Spokane, that remains to be seen. But again, the team that you're chasing in the standings is the team that you beat tonight. So the Canadians moved to within 6 games.
And you take it 1 game at a time, Rob.
Yes, bingo.
That's pretty much what it comes down to, 1 game at a time. And I know it sounds cliche, but it's 1 game at a time, and let the scoreboard tell you by the end of the night how you did. And you worry about coming into work and doing your thing.
Well, Brett Wright has been named the player of the game. He had that RBI double back in the 4th inning that really got the wheels turning for the Vancouver Canadians offense. At the time, it was the first and only run of the baseball game. And then the door finally swung wide open for Vancouver. It was a 2-run double from Yorman Rodriguez right on the heels of Tanner Morris getting himself an RBI double. So it was nice to see some of the stalwarts here for the Vancouver Canadians get their just due. A couple of second-year players stepping up, doing their thing. But also some of the drafted players. Tanner Morris had a nice game. Cameron Eden had a single and a walk as well. And Trevor Schwecke had a single and a run scored. So a lot of the prospects looking very well for the Vancouver Canadians. And I'll tell you what, I like where we're at right now. So, Ricky, before we go down to Caroline, is Caroline ready just by chance? We'll see really quickly if she is. Let's go down to field level. She is ready. Here's Caroline with Canadians manager Casey Candell.
Thanks, Rob. Casey Candell. Woo!
Yeah, that was good. I wish we were on TV across the nation all the time. We've won the 2 games that we've been on TV, so maybe we could work that out.
You hear that, head office in Toronto? You heard it here first. Now, what did you do differently that resulted in this outcome as opposed to the 7?
The guys just came out and they played well. We had a little talk before the game about getting back to fundamentals and making the routine play, squaring up the fastball, running hard, and the strike zone. So they did a great job of it, and my hat's off to them. They came out and played with energy. It was fun to watch.
Well, I'll let you go celebrate with your guys. I'm sure there's a Gatorade shower with your name.
Not me. Maybe Brett Wright. I think he was the player of the game. Thanks.
Thank you. Casey Candell, C's manager after a big win here. Guys?
So instead of the Gatorade shower, because he's the Tabasco player of the game, do they douse him in Tabasco?
I wouldn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, it probably would be a little fire. All right, thank you to Caroline Frolic for joining us here tonight. Our hair tonight, the grooming needs, were presented by Barber & Co. and purveyors of fine haircuts. You're right, close shaves and grooming supplies to do it all. Visit any of the barbershops in Vancouver or Toronto or book online at barberandco.com. Ricky Romero, final thoughts from tonight's game.
Just a well-played game all around, and I think the keys to the game was pretty much what it came down to.
Right.
Yeah.
The 3 things you said are the 3 things that the Canadians did. They're 2-0 with you here in this stadium.
I have nothing to do with it. They went out and did the work today, honestly. They pitched well, they played defense, and they took good at-bats. I know I keep mentioning that, but that's what happened. And more than anything, you can see the energy.
They did good. I'll tell you what, I really like it. And the crew with Hubcast did a fantastic job. Peter Young and his crew, extraordinary efforts, the sights, the sounds, everything we were able to bring you here tonight on Sportsnet Pacific. A very nice big bow on a wonderful 4-0 win for the Vancouver Canadians. Again, Canadians 4 runs on 7 hits. Spokane, nothing on 3. We will do it again on July the 20th. Until you and I meet again, my thanks to Caroline Frolic, Ricky Romero, and for you watching us tonight. Thanks to everybody with the Vancouver Canadians for making it possible. One final time, Canadians break their 7-game skid with a 4-0 victory here on Sportsnet Pacific. I will see you in a month's time. Everybody watching, have yourself a great night. Good night from Nat Bailey Stadium.